All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And this time around, we're going to have Altiora, the Canada Division champions that we crowned last weekend, facing off against the #1 team in Challenger League, Rentfree. This is going to be a crazy game, but before we jump into the tactical talk and the analysis, let's give a special shout out to the sponsors that are actually helping run this show right now, literally. I can't show up my laptop because it's in front of me. I'm using it, but Jesse, you have like the Megatron. You have the Optimus Prime of their laptops. What is it?
Yeah, Megatron Optimus Prime Helio 700, if you'd prefer. This thing is one of the most powerful gaming laptops on the market. It's insane. It can run anything that you want. Obviously, I use it for Siege and spreadsheets mostly. You can see that our viewers have similar laptops at home. They know what's up. And similarly, you can have a beautiful Predator laptop if you're looking for a Christmas gift, a late Christmas gift for your son or daughter. Perhaps this is the route you want to go, but incredibly powerful laptop. You really can't beat something like this.
Can we get an F in the chat for Jacob right now? Just a ton of Fs. Jacob, how do you like your laptop, man? Jacob? Jacob? Jacob, one day.
Jacob, come back! No! Oh, Jacob.
It's okay. He's still on like a trial basis, right? A tryout. One day, maybe when he makes it permanently, they'll send him a laptop. They'll send him a laptop. I don't know how that was so loud, but he was so far away. No, but the laptop I'm currently using, I wish I could pull it up right now. 2080, but the special thing about it that I really love that Predator has is that by a press of a button, I can automatically overclock my GPU.
Yes.
And I've been using that on multiple games. I love it. It is beautiful and it's amazing. Jacob, I'm pretty sure if you had one, you would love it too. But let's talk about the matchup. Rentfree and Altiora. First off, let's talk about Rentfree. Jacob. Now, as a Challenger League specialist here, when we take a look at this roster, what do you think their game plan is going to be against, the aggressive Canada Division champions, Altiora?
Their game plan has been a lot of unpredictability recently. When they play very, unregulated, unstructured Siege, even though they have a really good coaching staff with them to kind of help them figure things out from team to team, then they showed against the Supersonics yesterday that was a very effective strategy. Here's the thing, though. The Supersonics don't have a whole lot of strategy developed just yet. They only scrimmed, I believe, according to Super on Twitter yesterday, it was only a couple of times, and they also had a couple of those games at the qualifiers. But in this case, Rentfree is facing Altiora, which is far more of a known quantity. There's a lot more film on them, you have way more information, and there's a lot more stuff that you can structure. So in this case, I actually pulled up a response from my good friend Brycer, who is the coach for Rentfree, and what he mentioned specifically is that people have looked down on Canada since that division really started to get its start, and he already understands that they want to prove a point. He said, "We go into every game expecting to win, but we won't underestimate anyone. Should be a good game with a little bit more structure than that match against the Supersonics yesterday," and to be totally honest, I 100% believe that.
Oh, okay. Jesse, now, that was strong and powerful. Shout out to Brycer. Jesse, let's be honest. Let's talk about the man that pops off, the man that gets hype on stream. Thomas was a ball of fire for Rentfree yesterday. He led the way on cosign, I believe 11-4 by halftime, which is insane. What do you have to say about him and the rest of the players on this roster? Do they have what it takes to go on?
I mean, I think Thomas certainly believes it, and he makes me want to believe it too. Thomas is one of those players that will inspire a room full of people to do whatever he tells them to do. I mean, the man's insane. He got back-to-back 1v1 clutches against Super in their last matchup, which I think is a really impressive feat to really inspire the team and get them going. And you saw it in the interview. You saw it every time that we showed his face on stream after a big round win. He's the guy who pops off. He's the guy who motivates the rest of the squad. And I think it's important to have someone like that on your team. Even contrast that with Disrupt. I mean, I don't think DG really has a personality like that. It's not a problem that Rentfree will have. If they go down bad, similar to Jacob without a laptop, Thomas is the type of guy who can really hype them up. So I love that from him.
Altiora, let's talk about Altiora. Jacob, do you have your headset on? Jacob,
my headset is on,
Jacob,
Billy. Yeah,
I'm gonna give you your time to shine. Feel free to pull out your laptop with your stat tracking. Player to watch. There's a player here that you were really hype about.
A player that I'm really hype about because I have a lot of friends who are also hype about Altiora because of where they used to sit in like a T2 level, but now they're T1 in Canada. So I'm hype because my guys are hyped, and the person I'm hype about is Eska. This man is perhaps the single greatest grenade user in the North American League across either division. This man has coined the term Escanades. He is ingenious, he is intuitive, he is all-knowing with how he wants to utilize those, and I wanted to give him a shout out because I definitely don't believe that he's been highlighted with his grenade play up till this stage. And in the Canadian Finals game against Mirage, he was the second best player from a ratings perspective by 1 point. Court speed him out by 0.01 on the rating scale from CGG. He was in the midst of gunfights the entire time. He was nading things, obviously, but still held his own, helped carry that Altiora squad to that eventual success against Mirage. So if you did not know who Eska was before now, please pay attention to what he does. It is a real highlight reel.
Yeah, now, Jesse, the maps have been chosen. These teams, they know exactly where they're going to go. We're going to find out shortly where they're going to be playing, so I want you to give us a rundown and do what you do best.
Well, let's take a look as these head on into the studio. We'll see what they look like for Altiora versus Rentfree. They'll get up on your screen now. Console can be the first out band for Altiora. Then we see Theme Park, a common band to come in from Rentfree. Our first pick is Clubhouse. Now, Altiora have only ever lost 2 rounds on Clubhouse in their history. That includes a match against Mirage in the grand finals of the Canadian Division, as well as a match earlier on in Stage 1 that they played. For Rentfree, this is a map that they played in every series of Challenger League, and they've looked pretty good other than one loss against the Favelas. Then we head to Oregon for our second map. Rentfree, with 4 wins and a loss, Oregon is Altiora's best map, I'd say. They've only lost it to Mirage, so a pretty good record for them. And then Rentfree, this map they lost just yesterday in overtime against the Sonics, so some recent shakiness being shown. And Coastline for our final map. Rentfree got 7-5 win over Sonics on this map just last night. Altiora aren't afraid of this map, but they haven't won it super often, and their only real success was against Nordic at the start of Stage 2.
Okay, now, Jacob, the players are ready, man, so it's time for predictions. I want you to make it fast. Who do you have in your mind, who do you have in your heart that's going to pull away to face Beast Coast in the finals to go to SI?
Well, it comes down to the Canada division just not really, I think, being up to snuff as much as guys in United States Challenger League might be, and Rentfree showed yesterday that they are an absolute complete package. So I think, with all due respect to Altiora, this should be Rentfree going and rematching against Beast Coast in the grand final tomorrow.
All right, Jesse, lay it on me, man.
Listen, Rentfree may have better gun skill, they may have better coordination, they may be better at roaming and at droning and at anchoring, they may have better calls, better strats, a better operator
Sounds
pool,
like you're agreeing
maybe a better
with me.
map pool, maybe a better entry and a better late round, but there's one thing that Altiora have that Rentfree will never best them on, and that's the Canada group chat, of course. The support from the countrymen going up for Altiora is going to be huge. It's going to carry them for sure. The flag is waving for Canada, and I better hear those group chat members in the Twitch chat on Twitter supporting the boys on Altiora. It's going to be a good game, and I'm sure they're excited for it.
Whose man's is this? Listen, all right, chat, you heard it? Jacob going for Rentfree, Jesse's going with his countrymen. I'm going to need all of you in the chat to do me a favor, though. Spam that American flag because we're going all the way just like SI.
Not a chance.
Before we throw it to the casters, I'm gonna need you to do me a favor. Make sure you follow the Rainbow Six Siege social pages. You have highlights, updates, whatever it is. And also, one more thing. I'm gonna announce it after the first map. It's gonna be a great surprise. But you know what? Let's send this over to the casters. I'm excited for this. Blue and Stokes, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Veli. We are back once again, getting ready to jump into our second and final semifinal here at the North American Last Chance Qualifiers for SI 2021. We're about to go into our first map here between Rentfree and Altiora. Stokes, what do we make of this matchup now that we're moving into a new one here?
Well, I'm very, very excited for Canada versus the USA, but I've just got a little thing to say to Jesse. Jesse, if you're so confident about this Canadian group chat, I want to see all the channel points on it, man. Put the channel points down. Let's see what you got. You know, you've built up the stacks watching the Twitch stream. Now you got to put your money where your mouth is, man, because I'm saying Rentfree's taking this. I mean, it seems to be USA all day, and I'm down with that. Rentfree have been extremely solid throughout this entire qualifier as well as Stage 2 for Challenger League, and this team is brutality to the max. I mean, looking at the players that they have on this squad, in particular Thomas and Drip, have had such a massive influence over their play style.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have our community poll as usual for these matches. It's Canada versus the US. Who shows out for their country and takes their team to the finals? We want to know between two different players here, between Eska on Altiora as well as Sweater on the Rentfree roster. Go ahead over to our Twitter account at R6 Esports NA and submit your vote to the poll. We'll have the results during the analysis desk a little bit later on during the show. Either way, though, we've got all the players in the server. We've got everybody pretty much ready to go, so we're just waiting on the admins to start it, and then we should be good to dive deep into map number 1 of this series. Once again, vying for a second and final spot in the grand finals for the qualifier tomorrow. Only one of these teams can move on. Let's see which one it's going to be. Clubhouse is the opening map, and we're heading into it right now.
So Jesse said that he needed to be unmodded to bet. I think that's an excuse, though. That's how I'm taking it. I think it's an excuse. You know, a real man would have a secondary Twitch account with at least 100,000 channel points. I mean, come on, man.
100,000 what?
Real grinders out here, John. You're telling me
they actually have that much yet?
I mean, yeah. I think somebody put down like a million or something.
Really?
Yesterday. Yeah, dude. We have some
the channel point economy is all out of whack, man. We got to deflate this bad boy.
The economy for the channel is just completely gone now. Just, you know, it's weighed into only a couple of pockets.
We gotta do what like World of Warcraft has done a couple times and just do a little squish here on the stats a bit for channell points. But either way,
Parker's probably really mad because the 1%'s already forming inside of Twitch chat. You know, it's just.
All right, well, bans are going to stay pretty standard here for Clubhouse, as we'll have both Hibana and Thatcher knocked out. That does mean that a Maverick is available, so tricking on both of the upstairs walls is not really going to be an option for either player, just because, or for either team, I should say, just because of the fact that we have the Mav in play. Wamai, once again, just going down the list of the usual suspects here on bans. We've seen Wamai get banned out quite a bit today. This is no different. Wouldn't be surprised if this last one's going to be a Valkyrie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either, especially on a map like Clubhouse. We've talked about her influence throughout the day, but again, she's just a one-man wrecking ball when it comes to the defense. You can do a lot of things with her. She does intel great, roams great, and also has a great secondary utility, but she's actually going to be left up here, and they're actually going to take away Mira instead. I actually like this pick here. This is going to open the door to a lot of aggressive plays for Rentfree, and there's a lot of possibilities for both of them to enact Valkyrie inside of their defenses.
All right, well, let's get into round number 1 here and see what exactly these teams have to show us. Like we said, it's Altiora versus Rentfree, Canada versus the USA. Time to see who reigns supreme, at least in this matchup today, although we'll certainly have many, many more in the future. All right, Sweater, I saw that. Not going to be sticking on that caviar pick, but instead we'll be going over to something that we would definitely end up expecting here, which is going to be a pulse. And it should be interesting to see how the pulse gets utilized here, specifically because it does look like we're going to be going to a gym bedroom start. However, cancel that point. It's been 6 picked away. We got Valkyrie in the mix instead.
You gotta love when that happens. I feel like that's the best part about being a Siege commentator is you're like, all right, I think I know what's gonna be going on here, and 6 pick. Okay, so that's gonna change up a lot of things. No longer they're gonna have a pulse for any real reconnaissance downstairs. I guess you could truly play Clubhouse kind of like you do Consulate, right, where you just have pulse sit downstairs and feed back information to your site players. But I don't think that that's, you know, put the best, or it's not using Pulse to the best of his ability, right? There's very minimal soft destruction on the way downstairs, so it was more just an off pick with a means to an end. 6 pick away, pick up the Valkyrie and place some cameras around. So she obviously hasn't went through anything recently with nerfs or anything like that, so she's still just as potent as she's ever been. You know, good nitro cell, as well as all of her cameras still being able to be utilized inside and out. I know we've had like some recent discussions with you know, professional players saying that maybe that could be a big game changer for her, make it to where her cameras like eventually turn off outside or something like that, but her kit still is right as rain and as potent as ever been.
Taking a look at what else we're going to see, notably from Altiora. This is actually one of the first times I'm getting to check Altiora out, so I'm actually very excited to watch this match just for that reason alone. We're going to see them primarily pushing in from the garage side to start things off here. In fact, quite a few players are going to move in here quickly, more than likely take out that balcony reinforcement and allow for attackers to have access there. Oh, never mind. Spirits is immediately going to find an opening pick here. It looks like it's through the wall as well. Manages to catch Thomas as he's going to get shut down right at the beginning of the round here in the first minute.
Yeah, this is honestly how Altiora have seemed to play up against a lot of these squads. This is very, similar to how they played up against Mirage. Very surgical with how they work their drones, and they find a lot of good intel early on. Nice pick onto Thomas, and this is honestly going to be a strong play style to play up against Rentfree. Rentfree is a team that likes to free ball a lot of what's going on their defense, simply because they have such strong players. I mean, Drip, Thomas, Filthy, any of these guys at any moment in time can pop off and completely change around with one simple play. So for Altiora, making sure that they measure twice and cut once, I think that this is going to be the best way for them to go about handling this roster.
Eska will choose to use a grenade in that situation there to take out the Banshee on the bottom of the stairs instead of swinging to do it with the hammer instead. And meanwhile, Filthy is actually going to get a pretty big pick here, but it will be traded out by Spirits. Spirits with some really big picks right now. They had just lost the case, and they're going to lose it again because Sweater now comes in to check. Drip as well finds another pick upstairs. They're taking down Eska, and it's all left down to now Sonar and Euphoria to try and clutch this out 2v3, and they don't have case control either. They're going to have to rotate back around into Logi to get that back, and they don't know what it looks like. Euphoria could be walking himself into his own death sentence right now. All we need to do is see the peek from Prophecy, and there we go. There's the shutdown on Euphoria. It's all up to Sonar now.
Yeah, big problems for Sonar on main stairs. 1 versus 3, but Sweater is going to write the last chapter of this round, and that's going to be a Rentfree victory. It seems as though Rentfree are doing what they do best as well, John, and that's taking engagements at very awkward times for the offense. It worked out extremely well into their favor. They continue to trade inside of logistics, and I don't believe that Spirits or the rest of the Altiora squad were exactly ready for the double down on that. You saw they kept basically trickle feeding the kills inside of logistics, and it just so happened that that map position for Rentfree is going to work out more in their favor. They shut down the take from construction and force it down to just a one front attack up main stairs, and that's never going to work out in your favor.
I see another 6 pick here from Thomas this time as he's going to switch over to the smoke very quickly here. Add in something that we generally expect to see. Almost second picking it, but not going to be the case. Either way, we will move him into the basement. It's going to be interesting to see them work this without a Jaeger, however, especially when you consider that Wamai is also banned. It'll be open season here when it comes to utility usage for the attackers, but the good news is it is on a basement site, so that shouldn't become too much of a massive issue until the later round. That's assuming, of course, we don't see any crazy nade shots trying to be banked up from the first floor down below onto the players holding an arsenal.
Yeah, we've seen that one a couple of times, and with what we heard from the analyst desk, apparently Eska is the second coming of BC. So we'll have to see if he can exactly do the Brandon Carr special and land these grenades. We seldom get somebody that has crazy accuracy with these things, so it's really, really nice to see somebody stepping up and picking up that mantle. If it's true, I'm not saying Jesse's a liar, but I'm just saying that I'd like to see for myself first. That's all. I definitely think he can do it, though. I saw some of his nade plays when he was playing up against Mirage. So, I mean, again, very, very strong stuff for what Altiora has at their disposal, especially with those frag grenades coming in that could possibly change some things up. But overall, especially with the leadoff here, the rounds just started. They're already down 2 drones. So you can already see the roam game from Rentfree having an impact and an influence over the round early on.
Already lost that first 30 seconds of the round. Not much going by during that time, however. Altiora still really taking their opening few minutes, as all teams will, really, in order to figure out what's going on with the defensive setup. And they're going to have to figure out, most notably, how to deal with this extended roam game from Sweater and some of the other members of Rentfree. Filthy, notably, sitting back in Logi, too. Seems like Altiora is already somewhat read into this, though, so they are starting to work towards it, but may not end up panning out so well. Sweater has the angle against this lurk. If the player on the other side of it for Altiora goes any further, that's Euphoria. They get shot in the leg a few times here. Goes down to 75, but now that he's revealed himself, he's going to grow a bit more conscious of his own position. Or defender this is, and will more than likely fall away from that spot.
Actually, very surprised we didn't get an engagement there from Drip onto the bathroom player, but instead it's going to be Sweater. Rotates into Master and takes down Sonar on the balcony. Again, this is the Rentfree style of Siege. Very aggressive, in your face. They want these gunfights, and they're going to out-mechanically skill you. That's the whole game plan. As for that, though, Sweater going to actually be the next one to fall down, as he's been killed off by Sonar upstairs. They now have top control, but pay attention to that timer. This thing is just leaking like a sift right now. I mean, already down to 1 minute and 15 seconds, and we still have Filthy all the way upstairs. He's able to take some more engagements, but not before he's taken down by Penguin inside of Master.
It's going to come down to a 4v3 here now. Rentfree starting to look a little bit weaker, although the roam game has been torn apart. But once again, this is all part of the plan, and this is the really interesting part of it, is Thomas lurking in kitchen, trying to get one over the Altiora roster here. The real question's got to be, how's he planning to fall back? And that may not even really need to be a question that needs answering here, because he might be able to get outright aggressive in a moment or two. Eska will open up passage over into the hallway. I'm curious if they're even aware of the positioning here from Thomas as of yet, but either way, he's going to strike in just a moment in the event that they swing around the corner from this soft wall. Thomas doesn't want to reveal himself and take a chance on trying to spray through it, but there we go. There's the lineup. He takes down Eska and is now just going to hide out in the freezer.
Well, smoke not only effective on anchor positions and stopping plants, but also effective for shutting down passive engagement as he closes off that kitchen door. It's all up to Euphoria and Spirits to try and take down some members downstairs, but that's not going to matter too much. Euphoria still has case control, but needs to try and get a pick here. Instead, actually opts to go for the plant behind the bar, but Thomas more than likely going to be able to clean this up pretty easily, and that's going to be a second round here for Rentfree. Altiora have no answer for the aggression from RF.
Cool strategy there from Thomas to play to the inside of kitchen, throw his opponents off a little bit. I would have liked to see how that would have played out had there have been more presence from Altiora trying to push into kitchen, whether it's to take down the hatch or just trying to push him out. But either way, a very cool move from him, even though it only led to that one pickup and then the final one at the end as well. Made it very, very difficult either way for the attackers, who are already dealing with bled numbers, to try and work something when all of a sudden, like, there's a guy in our kitchen. Like, we don't normally deal with this. How exactly do we counter this? So just a little bit too much to deal with there. They try to force it onto the site, and sadly, things do not work out.
Yeah, not in the slightest, and this is probably going to be the problem for Altiora throughout the rest of this series. Rentfree is a roster that is not afraid to make plays in the slightest. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that position that Thomas played is only okay with the way that he did it. If you saw smoke there at any other moment in time, you'd be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But it works because that's the play to be made. He's able to lock down kitchen. They don't know that he's there. They've already thought that all of the roam game for Rentfree has fallen back to sight, and that was surely not the case. You still have Thomas to worry about. Not really a drone game going on for Altiora anymore, even though they still had drones at their disposal. They just didn't clear things out. They were so, at that moment in time, scared of what could possibly happen to them and where they were and what map control Rentfree could still possibly have, that they just missed a couple of critical steps, and that's when Rentfree were able to run away with the round. It's the little plays like that that really build up to topple over Altiora, and that's more than likely, again, going to be their problem throughout the rest of the day.
All right, so Rentfree once again looking to chain together these rounds here. Staring down the barrel of number 3 if they're going to be able to get this one here inside of CCTV and Cash. For Altiora themselves, in the meantime here, we are going to see their players, well, go for the usual objectives right off the bat. We'll see both Spirits as well as Penguin as well move over here, be able to try and take down that wall leading into the site. Should go down, like I said before, without much of an issue, because the fact that we have Maverick in play, there's not really anything the defenders can do to stop this breach from happening. So usually ends up going off without too much of a hitch, as we're about to see here.
Oh, could have an early pick. Filthy!
Denied, though.
Dead. Quite dead, actually. His Spirit quickly deals with that situation. So no spawn kill going in the favor of Rentfree. But, hey, you know, players got to play, shooters got to shoot, and this is how it works. So Altiora are going to have the lead-off kill here, and this could actually be a really, really good start for them. We've seen them get some pressure on the roam game before from Rentfree, but it just really hasn't worked out. So to start off with an unanswered kill is definitely something that could be, you know, a call to arms, possibly get the ball rolling here for them.
Penguin's going to move himself forward here now. Has the lock on his sweater, it seems, but can't find the shots necessary. Only knocks off about half of his HP. He's going to go down to right around 60 as a result of that and sit back on the inside of Cash. Thomas will suffer a somewhat similar fate as he'll take a shot or two as well. And with that, just brute force aggression from Altiora, they're going to be able to use it to take control of construction in its entirety.
Great clear so far from them, but now it's down to Rentfree to fire back from sight, and that's exactly what they do. Is a hail of fire comes in from the Alda and takes down Penguin. We're all of a sudden equalized into 4 versus 4, but still plenty of time here for Altiora to pick up the pieces. It's actually going to be Sweater to strike next as he takes down Euphoria, pre-fires the window, takes down Sonar, still looking for more. All of a sudden, Altiora on their back foot, practically planted on their butts. Not too much to do more as there's continuing gunfire from Rentfree. Eska, the only one inside of construction, has so much to worry about. Impact's coming in now, dealing quite a bit of damage. Frag grenade in behind green box. Can't find anybody as he's going to be taken down by Thomas ultimately. It's Spirits to find 2, looking for 3, but now down to the pistol, loses it out against Prophecy, and that's the Rentfree way. Round 3 goes to RF.
Things certainly looking solid right now for Rentfree. 3 straight rounds in a row here, and looking solid as of the past few as well. We need to see Altiora get onto the table soon here, because if not, this is looking like a very, very defender-sided half for Rentfree that could lead into a very, very quick win on their attacking side if things are able to follow through there as well. Sights will continue to shift, and Rentfree will just move down the line to their next one as they're going to head into gym and bedroom for the 4th round now that they've gone in a complete circle here.
Okay, well, see how they want to play this one out. It's looking very, very similar to what they did the last time. They're 6 picking for the Valkyrie once again, this time away from Castle, though. So that could give, Altiora some alternative motives here as to what they need to do, but that'll change up as soon as they get some drones in the building. So more than likely just going back to what works, and what worked was, some amazing gameplay from Rentfree. Again, just get in the faces of your opponent and try and win out inside of those engagements. As long as they're continuing to do that, I don't think, there's going to be too much of a slip up. It's up to Altiora to make the game change now. They need to either try and put some pressure on Rentfree whilst clearing and holding the crosses on the back end to try and get some picks, or just try and play into those gunfights and win them. I don't necessarily see that one working out too well. I'd much rather see a change in strategy.
Out of those final couple seconds, we'll see that extended hold here for Thomas and probably a couple other players to utilize. Also going to go down to the inside of the cash room too, because he'll be secured there where Filthy's currently positioned at now. The Mute Jammer goes down to act as kind of double security in this department, because they'll more than likely have to use Hard Breach on that wall to flush the roam game out, whether it's going to be Thomas or Filthy, whoever ends up sticking around here. But one of them for sure will have to play it out here, and it'll be a pain in the butt for Altiora to clear. Other than that, things looking fairly standard for what we expect over here on the actual site.
Okay, well, let's see where Altiora want to start us off this time, shall we? It looks as though they want to go for Jacuzzi, work their way in from here, at least for a starting point. Sonar opts to go all the way to the east side of the building, so it seems as though they want to try and get these walls at the same time. Or, at least for the most part right now, Sonar just wants to apply some pressure from the balcony. Actually, an amazing setup here. I like what he's done. Put 2 Selma charges down just for an entry point, and now he can play it all the way back with that ACOG on the AK-12, just for some distance in between him and the defense if anyone wants to get aggressive to the plat area. As for the rest of the Altiora players, though, it seems as though they really want to focus on this Jacuzzi wall while trying to keep some pressure in from the master balcony.
See Euphoria picking about the windows here, trying to see if anyone from the Rentfree side of this exchange is going to give themselves away, but so far not to be the case. Rentfree are sticking to their guns, and they're sticking to their positions, more importantly. Enter that last 2 minutes of the round here. Still plenty of time for Altiora to make their mark, and that's where it's going to be made. Spirits again finding the opening pick for the team here, but just as quickly as before, it's traded out, this time by Sweater, who was able to take down Euphoria and eliminate the Ash from this attacking squadron. Still has the main bulk of the push with them, though, so it's not the end of the round just as of yet here. Good utility work to take out the camera sitting in the back of Jim, just chucking the grenade on top of that. Some progress being made here for Altiora, but it is at a cost.
Yeah, and I think that that's where things are going to get drastic for Altiora. It seems as though Rentfree, as of right now, are just better in the late round, and the quicker they get there, the quicker things are more than likely going to stay the same. But actually, the suicide grenade from Penguin takes down Sweater. That'll be a big pick as he's gotten both kills so far inside of this round. 3v3 right now for Altiora. Good chance to get around on the board. Case currently directly inside of the Jacuzzi wall. They still have a MAV torch line across the bathroom, which will be utilized from Sonar to take down Filthy. They're looking for the plant inside of Waits. It's up to RF to respond now. Thomas and Drip, the last 2 that remain, they're trying to act quickly. They hear the case get started, but oh no, Drip's been eaten alive from inside of the actual master window. Sonar's going to take some damage, but not enough to down him. He'll confirm the plant, and this is looking more like an Altiora round overall. Thomas finally gets taken down from Spirits, the MVP of the round for Altiora, as they claim their first round here in round 4.
A good spin around from Altiora, holding the extremities at the window and balcony positions in order to make sure that they could still trade out against what up to that point had been a very, very solid aggressive stance from the defenders inside of the site. Finally getting those picks allows them to work their way in, and like we said, bringing it down to the 3v1. Not much of a hope there for the last player alive on Rentfree to work their way back in.
Yeah, you could really tell that Rentfree were not used to playing around that Maverick torch position that they had on the bathroom wall. That's not something that you see regularly done. So, the positions that you would assume are safe inside of the actual site sometimes aren't simply by proxy of now what, cross angles they have. So with that now open, Altiora practically get all of the kills that were, extremely high impact off of that. Besides that, they already had the crosses set up, and it was all said and done by that point. They're able to pressure enough to where they can get the case down, hold the crosses to support that, and that's all she wrote. Rentfree ended up giving up a round on over to Altiora, but that's a really, really good start for them, and great play overall. Really like how they handled the bathroom situation and translated that into a plan.
Well, guys, we do want to remind you one more time here to check out the new SI Battle Pass, which is now available in-game to purchase now. Of course, plenty of ways to support your favorite teams and players because all purchases of the SI Battle Pass go to directly support the SI prize pool. And on top of that, the Battle Pass this year has 100 tiers and up to 134 rewards. That's a lot of skins, folks. So go ahead in-game and check it out now and consider purchasing the Battle Pass to support the scene.
Please. And thank you. That goes to the tournament winnings for everybody at SI. So why wouldn't you do it? And I believe it. I actually don't know if it's capped or not this season, but last year we actually hit the cap, which is one of the most incredible things ever. And if it does do that, it actually translates into the rest of our tournaments for the rest of the year. So really, really cool stuff that Ubisoft does for our esports scene, and some really cool stuff done by Prophecy. His spirits just a tick over his head, buddy. You're gonna want to aim down next time. That is a poor start for Altiora, but a great start for Rentfree, and really, really does suck that it's off onto Spirits. He's had such a good showing so far.
And even worse, this usually has been Spirits who's found the opening kill for Altiora, so that record sadly is going to decrease a little bit too, just on his own personal stats. But either way, that's that opening fragger that they've generally had in play in the previous rounds. Now that factor is gone. Someone else is going to have to pick up the slack, and you can see, at least by the scoreboards right now, that there's not a whole lot in that department across the Altiora roster. Spirits is 8-4. The next highest player is 2-4. So they're definitely going to be lacking now, and they'll have to find a team-oriented way to win out this round.
Maybe this is the time for Eska to step up with those frag grenades that we've heard so much about. Possibly find his mark here, as there is no one stopping him from doing so, at least utility-wise. But Rentfree still have a pretty strong grasp on this round. They got their initial pick and they realized it was Spirits, so let's just back up and not give them any frags. They're playing extremely, extremely safe right now inside of sight. Most aggressive player right now is actually Filthy. He's currently playing inside of Pulse Spot right now downstairs in Arsenal. Now some options for a Nitro cell here, but it seems as though he's already expended that. Just rather have the shotgun out to try and prevent any vertical play.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Still going to see a slow wind-up here from Altiora, more than likely for good reason in the fact that they don't necessarily have a safe entry point to work into this basement with. They're still focused a lot on the drone game, trying to get the most up-to-date info possible before they commit themselves into the depths of the basement, and they're really locked in against the fights versus Rentfree. At the same time, we've reached the 30-second mark here, only the second smoke charge being used by Thomas, so he can deny main stairs access all the way down to the 11-second mark. Drip has found himself another pick here as well, this time taking out Penguin. Eska still desperately hunting for one through the hatch, but has been unable to find it. Instead, it's going to be Euphoria that finds the pickup. Prophecy will quickly trade that back down into an advantage situation for Rentfree, though, but Euphoria really the only player keeping this alive, and now quite literally the only player still alive here in the 1v3. Gonna try his best but can't get the job done. Rentfree close it out.
Rentfree have just been better at knowing what stage of the game they're in throughout these rounds. I mean, we see them immediately rotate back to site after they get the leadoff pick onto Spirits. They knew exactly what Spirits had been doing this entire game, and it's exactly like you said, Blue, where they're able to get these big picks early on, with Spirits leading the charge most of the time. I mean, 8-1-4 currently, and having most of the entry kills for Altiora. So once, you get rid of him, you really don't have too much to worry about. You can kind of give Altiora their space and have them work towards site, where all of the gunfights mostly fall on Rentfree's side of the fence. So just very well played from them overall. Understood the pacing, understood how much that pick meant to the game of Altiora, and abused that.
Okay, so it's another CCTV and cache defense here from Rentfree. They're looking good to try and secure the 5-1 half here if Altiora isn't able to pick up the pace within this final round. Setup should be pretty similar to what we've already seen on the past rounds, including the garage reinforcements, which are coming out now from Thomas on top of just their usual operator lineup. Nothing crazy happening here, no denial coming out against the walls. Just going to be focused very much on your usual state of play, as this operator lineup, at least on the right side of your screen, should be pretty familiar to you.
Okay, well, with 5 seconds remaining in the prep phase, it seems as though Rentfree want to set up a couple of different things across the top floor. Doesn't seem as though they're going to be dedicating any reinforcements over there, though. So as for right now, Altiora more than likely going to be sticking to the game plan. Get the CCTV wall open and translate that either into a construction take or a garage take. We'll have to see which one they'd rather go for, but as of right now, Rentfree are indeed set up for both. They got the hatch pop to make sure they can try and prevent anything happening on the construction panels, as well as a garage player in place. So Filthy more than likely going to be dying on this hill if Altiora go for that, but they're already getting really, really aggressive towards this wall. They're actually going for the entire
the whole thing
here. Yeah, and
Wait.
He was making sure that side was torched. So actually what he's going to do here is he's just going to get the right-hand panel, I do believe, and then leave the left-hand panel with just the bottom open so that the rappel player can actually hold all of CCTV, as well as if Filthy hops in the window.
I thought they were going to go for some weird type of like crawl hole or something there for a second.
Huh?
I was like, oh, what kind of shape is he going to make today? But no, not the case. It is just, as Stokes said, to open up more possibilities for frags for the players on rappel. That's going to be an instant denial onto Eska there, as Thomas just says no to that breach. Bye-bye to the sledge. Bye-bye to this drone, too, because we're now going to be down to a 5v4.
That's like when you deny a dunk in basketball and you just stare him down afterwards. That's exactly what that looked like. It just, oh man, very unfortunate for Altiora. But Penguin strikes true with a frag grenade. It's a good start, especially onto Prophecy, as he's been popping off inside of these rounds recently. So big game changer there for him. Hopefully Filthy has something to stop himself from getting exploded. But actually, no, the fuse time on that grenade a little short to reach out onto Cat how he needed. Sweater, though, still downstairs, so Rentfree in a really strong position right now defensively. Case down inside of construction, and Sweater more than likely going to get a freebie if somebody steps up. He's just going to have to hold the angle here. Just waiting for the window hop in as well, but oh no, he's actually standing just too close.
Oh, no, come on.
To actually
he did it like
see
3
it.
times.
Oh man, that is just so unfortunate. Sweater finally sees him, but oh my god, what? Sonar just walks in and lets him kill him. He's downed, and so is the Case.
Sono's going to go down. He's not dead just as of yet, though. Penguin's been able to retrieve the Case, so that Altiora still has possession of that. Thomas going to get dropped here, but at the same time, we are going to see another pickup from Filthy and Sweater as well. Down to Penguin and Spirits now. Spirits finding the pick onto Drip. Leaves it on Filthy and Sweater now for Rentfree, with Filthy still having partial garage control, but he's going to get stunned out. Can't get aggressive in this scenario. Sweater has to hop over from construction and get back in here instead. Filthy now trying to commit, but he's got 2 different players working him, and Sweater's been countered, so it's all on to Filthy, holding on the inside of the garage rafters here. Trying his best to work back in. He's actually lost the player that was on rappel, but it doesn't matter. Penguin gets the winning angle to shut down Filthy, and Altiora gets a second round at the end of the half.
Desperately needed, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't a beautiful round from them overall. I mean, that was some great stuff from Altiora, really countering out the game plans from Rentfree. Rentfree was extremely aggressive over to the master side, and whilst they had most of their man count over there, Altiora immediately gets to work on CCTV, and they completely go around garage control. Filthy was hardly touched up until that 2v1 there at the, dying moments, but the Case is already down. They've already got Plat open, and you saw it there first, folks. I mean, that Mav line working out, making wonders mostly happen inside of sight there. That's what I was going for, but not exactly how it was said. It doesn't really matter, though. Rentfree now on over to offense after Altiora have a really strong end to their offensive half.
All right, guys, into round number 7. The second half begins. Rentfree jumps onto the attack, Altiora onto the defense. We are immediately going to go into a basement hold here as well for Altiora, meaning that more than likely going to stick. I would say normally means that we're going to stick with that turtle game, but looking at the operator lineup and the fact that we're seeing quite a few reinforcements go down upstairs, that's almost certainly not going to be the case, as it definitely looks like Altiora want to play the extended game upstairs to try and trip up Rentfree and slow them down in any capacity with this roam game up onto the second floor.
This could be interesting. Altiora pulling no punches when it comes to Rentfree, and why would they? This is the semifinals of the SI qualifiers. Somebody has to go on tomorrow to play up against Beast Coast. Which one is it going to be? That's the big question. Altiora is trying to do it apparently for the Canadian group chat. Rentfree is trying to do it for mostly Thomas, I would think, because that guy is an absolute nutball. But we love to see it. It's been great energy throughout the entire quals, and that's exactly what we like to see from these players, folks. A lot of passion coming into this gameplay right now, and it's been exuding through the rest of the team. I mean, Sweater's been on an absolute tear yet again today. 8-6-4, doing the most right now for Rentfree.
I'm looking to shut this one down with the defining first round in the second half here. I'm going to see quite a few of the teams start to stack up over towards the dirt tunnel, actually, and there is a player close to main stairs, although I believe he's down. Yeah, he's down in the basement, so the silhouettes got me that time. But either way, Euphoria going to be here trying to fend off the eventual push through the dirt tunnel in the event that Prophecy, and especially in the event that more players from Rentfree decide to go down this path. That doesn't appear to be the case, though. It's just going to be Prophecy for the time being, and more than likely Drip once he gets off drone. The rest of the team is going back into the building to approach this in a more normal fashion.
I think this is still definitely a play centralized around Prophecy inside of dirt. See if they can possibly get a pick to help him find his way into the back of Armory from dirt tunnel, but as for Altiora, they're still existing on the map throughout the entire thing, actually. Spirits and Penguin currently around the bar billiards area, as well as Sonar, but they're actually going to decide to fall off and play defense. They see things have gotten to a boiling point inside of sight as this push starts to come in through dirt. Euphoria sees some members, but it's just silhouettes for right now. Some grenades still coming in. Drip finally gets one, and this is more than likely going to be the call to arms. Penguin now with a double kill on the other side of things, though, as he's killing anyone dropping through that hatch.
No pressure on main stair, so that's going to be the resounding result of that, because he can just hold out in the main hallway against the hatch, as Stokes was just saying. No shields either, so they do not really have an easy way to get out from dirt tunnel here, as they are just going to have to basically frag their way to it, which is a very sketchy thing inside of Siege. Drip moves himself forward, though, finds a very big kill on his Spirits, but again, Penguin is there for the trade as he gets his third within the round. Drip getting away, though, might have been a big deal, because now he's in the depths of Church, should have a relatively safe plant to work towards. Penguin's trying to swing for it, but he doesn't have the safety to do so either. The problem, though, is he misreads the play inside of Blue. Doesn't expect the long, or the short flank, I guess I should say. Expects the long flank. But as a result of that, Esk will be able to take him down, completes the retake. Eng will pull off the counter defuse, and we'll see Altiora get their third round on the board.
Great stuff from Penguin there to shut down that take. It got really scary there, especially with that hatch drop, because Drip did something that no one was expecting him to do. They assumed that the plant was going to be going down a dark spot or inside of that smoke that was over near, pulse spot at the back of Armory. So he all of a sudden goes through a rotate hole, cuts Mozzie down, and then immediately jumps into Church. They know that he's rotated over there more than likely, but the problem is they don't know if he's holding angles or planning or what have you, simply because at that moment in time when he starts the plant, they're both so far away, you can't even really hear it. So they don't get aggressive until the case finally goes down, but it didn't matter. They had already made the moves that were necessary. Penguin gets past the cross angle. That was the most important aspect of it inside of Blue before Drip can get to it after the case plant. So big stuff for Penguin right there, ultimately winning Altiora the whole round off of his efforts.
Big win once again there from Altiora. Rentfree, unfortunately, not having a diverse enough push there leads them into so many choke points where Altiora is able to bleed them down one by one. A valiant attempt, to be fair, from Drip to work himself past that and eventually get to a point where he could work for at least getting the defuse onto the ground, but sadly unable to clutch it out in the 1v2. So Altiora locked down their first site, move upstairs to try the next one now, as they're going to go for the cash and CCTV defense next here. For the attacking lineup, again, we're going to see a slight change up here in the fact that mainly we bring the Capitao in this time on Sweater. A little bit more execute utility that suits itself very well to this specific site. So we'll see how the plan will work out for Rentfree.
5 seconds left.
Oh, that's so troll. Altiora, bringing out some old stuff here. All right, so
What,
some
with the
shotgun.
wall?
Yeah, shotgun holes through the wall. So this makes it to where your torch lines for Maverick can just get messed up a little bit. That's really the best way to put it. It basically makes it to where there's 2 different levels that you have to torch, and it just gets really annoying when you're trying to make sure all the metal pieces aren't connected so the actual reinforcement will fall out.
Yes.
Yeah, as well as it actually used to, doesn't really anymore if I remember correctly, but it used to make it to where you could hear through the wall better for Maverick, or not Maverick, excuse me, bandit tricking.
Certainly would find a use from that, but to start things off, the breaches from Rentfree are actually going to be focused on the garage, as it does look like they want to try and get some access to the inside of here. And now we'll see the results of this peppering that was done to the wall, because, oh yeah, I see what you mean now. Oh my god.
Looks like Swiss cheese.
So yeah, Drip's gonna have to try and work his way past that. We'll come back to that one in a minute and see how that one's going.
It would only make it better if he had the elite skin on, so he'd actually be in like full torch gear, like full
Oh, that's
on
right.
welding.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That guy's getting fired if you weld like that. I'm just saying. Oh man. Well, Penguin though, still upstairs for Altiora inside a catwalk for Garage. Playing some strong defenses. Drip is taking his sweet time trying to get this wall open. He's going to deal some damage to Penguin. Penguin tries to cross back, but Drip's just better. Reaction time test, and he wins it with flying colors. So Drip now going to get the wall open, so didn't slow him down too much, but halfway through the round already, and this is where the problem's going to ensue for Altiora. They've now given up garage control. They have a member downstairs that can possibly abuse this push-up from Oil Pit, but that's going to be really it. They need something else to happen here, as Rentfree have everything to try and force onto site. Another pick. Eska finally fires back, though, onto Filthy.
Eska coming in to be the hero in the mid round here. It slows down the attack as well. Everyone else on Rentfree freezes momentarily instead of committing themselves to the push because of the counter frag that comes in from Eska. Now we've got Sonar still sitting on the site. Might end up being the first contact in the event. We see this garage push move through. He knows they're on the other side, though, so he's going to actually throw that against the wall in hopes that it bleeds through and pushes them back. And it does look like it worked slightly, although didn't really get any damage onto those players. Just holds them back a couple of steps. Down to the final 48 seconds. Want to take a look here at the Capital utility. We have seen one of the micro smokes get used, but neither of the incendiaries, and still an extra smoke remaining in Sweater's kit here. So a lot to utilize, although he nearly lost his head a moment ago. Speaking of which, more players going to be knocked out here in a moment. This time by Prophecies. He's able to take down Sonar. Eska again being the hero in the mid round here, as he's the only player that's been able to get kills so far for Altiora, and now that's going to come to an end as Prophecy shuts this down as well. Sweater will get the final frag, and Rentfree claim themselves the 8th round.
Rentfree does not care about ammo count in this game in the slightest. If there is a hair that moves on someone's head, they're sending shots, and it is continuing to work out for them. Another great round from them. 5-3 right now up against Altiora. The defense started off quite strong. I like the structure that they had there, but just kind of a misplay inside a garage that just gave away too much map control really early on, and Rentfree knew exactly what to do with that. They start pressuring in towards cash, forcing Altiora to make some moves to try and gather back some round control overall. Not exactly map control, but try and get that man count equalized and make Rentfree's job harder. But as they take these gunfights, Rentfree continue the snowball, and Altiora really don't have any saving grace in the slightest.
All right, Altiora, pressure starting to build up here now, at least within map number 1. This is a best of 3, folks, so remember, Altiora are not going to be out of the running just yet. If they drop this one, they'll still have a chance for redemption on maps 2 and potentially 3 if they can close out map 2, assuming they lose this one. But more on that later. Rentfree on the warpath here for the attacking side. Altiora is going to decide to make a reattempt here on the same site, and the setup is going to look somewhat similar too. I believe the Cade is new, though, so they're going to change up the strategy slightly here for Altiora.
And I do just want to put this out here. This pick is indeed Clubhouse for Altiora. So that could be a big problem because Rentfree chose Oregon. So if they take this map, I don't exactly know how that bodes for Altiora. That could be very bad, which it probably will be, I'll be honest. But hey, we'll have to see how it works out. I mean, hey, did you see the man's torch job the last time?
Like, come on, like, it didn't work that well.
I mean, yeah, but you know, again, you have to try.
If anything, listen, if we want to go real conspiracy theorist with this one here, you could argue that if that wasn't there, he would have just gone about his business as normal on the last round and did the breach without going for the kill on the guy in garage. So
he wouldn't have shot Penguin.
Yeah, if you want to go real deep with that one, you can. That's probably probably complete BS, but
That was a deep think right there, man. That was we might need some AI to decipher that. I don't exactly know.
I'll have to have someone run that back in a scrim.
But there could be some major problems here, actually. So this time around, they actually set up that wall differently. This time they've opened up most of it. So when that wall drops, Drip's actually going to have a chance to die, which is a really, really big game changer here. So we'll have to see how they go about this time around, though. But it seems as though they didn't even go for the torches. They opted to use their hard destruction instead, which guarantees that no one gets shot, which is good, obviously.
Either way, the wall has been open. Rentfree has the angles to work with. Not as easy of access to garage this time, though. And that's where the big operator switch up should have been able to help Altiora in the long run, because now they have Penguin committed here. Been able to deny at least some of the breaches to the inside of garage, but they're still going to get that access. Oh, and unfortunately, on the first contact, he's down for the count. Sweater taking him down, and that's going to be garage access, more than likely gain now for Rentfree.
If there's one thing that you don't want to test, it's these guys' mechanical skill. Filthy gets them to the drone hole. Let them breathe for a second, Rentfree. Come on. They can't even find themselves. They're still staggering around, and you deliver yet another blow. They're trying to fight back onto Prophecy, but it's still too little too late right now for Altiora. It's down to the anchor players to try and make some magic happen. Frag grenades in towards Euphoria's shield on the top of red, but overall, Altiora just not in a really good spot. Still have a member off site that could possibly do some damage, but Eska's immediately going to skimper on back. He wants to play from on site with his last offensive members. They still have some good utility to utilize if he's able to make it back in.
And are still waiting patiently on the inside of Cash here for the eventual push to move in. Eska as well just got spotted out by a drone. I don't know if he noticed it. It wasn't being watched. That's what he will notice for sure. Now as he falls back, the Nitro Cell is so clean from Eska. Very well done. He'll retreat to the back of the site now as he goes back up towards the top red stairs. And off of that, Rentfree's going to commit themselves to the inside. No more Nitro, so they can't really stop this from happening. Either way, though, no, the Echo is going to get him off of it. Another 1-for-1 exchange goes down. Drip will reattempt the plant here. Now, do they have the capability to interrupt? No, they don't. It'll get denied this time as the Echo goes down. Drip, though, oh, Sonar deep in sight. What? How does he maintain that position? And he just shuts down all of the aggressive attempts from Rentfree to swing after their plant. Beautifully done by Altiora. They're getting round 4.
Defenders have disabled the bomb.
Just got a flashback from school, man. Nobody's seeing this guy. I mean, come on, this is craziness. Sonar's just standing out in the middle of CCTV like nobody's business, ends up cleaning up 2 kills, and Altiora have yet another defensive round. They're keeping this close. I'm liking what we're seeing, but that's a large mistake from Rentfree. I mean, there's no really other way to cut it. They had control of that entire area. Unless they really couldn't see him simply because of the smoke placements, that's really the only excuse that they have. But overall, an amazing play there from Sonar to bring Altiora back into it when they desperately needed that. I mean, a 3v5 coming down to that execute.
I do think that is what happened, that he managed to sneak into that spot during the chaos of the smokes that have been chucked out in the middle of that fight. Because obviously, like, everything was going crazy there. No one would have been able to get clear comms out at that point. So if he was able to maintain that position there and no one from Rentfree moved forward past the central server in the middle of that room to check it after the fact when they reattempted the plant, then that's how he would have been able to get away with that. And that's probably how it happens. That makes the most sense in my head.
Listen, either way, I'm no mathematician, but this isn't adding up, all right?
Either way, a massive play from Altiora to make that happen, as it looked like Rentfree had some really solid control built up. I mean, they even countered out the change-ups that Altiora made to try and make their hold a little bit better. So things were looking great once again for the American roster here, but just wasn't able to get the job done. Altiora staying in it, and now they're going to return to a basement hold to try and tie the game up.
I think that right there was just the pure willpower of the Canadian group chat, willing Sonar's hand into CCTV, where he, you know, quickly dispatched all of the Rentfree members and was able to claim yet another round for Canada and their greatness. I say that, but like their flag is literally just a leaf. Somebody actually chose that. Think about that for a second. They had options and they chose a leaf. That's how that went.
I mean, what did we choose? Bars and stripes? Like,
dude, I don't think that there's actually like a really cool flag design. I mean, there's a couple, but you know, come on.
There's very cool flag designs. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, listen, man, I don't know all like how many countries are there now? Like 200 and some odd?
I think like 276. I feel like is the number. That's probably not the exact number, but
I mean, but if it was,
that would be pretty insane if it was. That was just a guess, because
But actually, though, we already have a leadoff kill here. That was actually quite quick, even for this game. Prophecy down really, really early. It seems as though Altiora now wants to get in the faces of Rentfree. See how it goes.
It's 193,
it's less than 200. All right. Well, 193. Thank you, Jesse. He's got stats on everything, chat. That's just how it works.
Well, Penguin is in a drone fight in the meantime here as he fights to retreat himself back downstairs. Filthy, in the meantime, going to come out with a nice spray to take down Sonar, trading out the loss of Prophecy from earlier on in the round and bringing us on to even terms again at a 4 versus 4. Everyone from Altiora has retreated into the basement, though, so now it's all about how quickly Rentfree can clear out the hatches or just the general route they want to take for their push and how quickly they can execute upon those routes.
Okay, well, Rentfree still have a lot of options here, as you were saying, but it seems as though they really want to get down and dirty inside of Dirt Tunnel here. Drip droning forward, but I don't believe he saw the Banshee inside. Could possibly get rid of that, but the issue is it's going to give away his position, obviously. Selma charge is now going down, so this is going to be the time for Drip to step forward. They need some sort of aggression into Dirt to apply pressure to these back-end players, but Drip's also going to need some reciprocation from that from upstairs. Any rotations that happen, he will need some assistance. Finds a nice spot in here right next to the door. This is very, very cheeky. The barrel could possibly be sticking out. Oh, just sees the head of this Malusi player. Could possibly have the leadoff kill here in just a second. Practically watching aim labs at this point as the bubble continues to blink and blink away, but no kill happening just yet for either of these rosters.
Euphoria still looking for the lineup onto Drip, who's backed up in the meantime. Nade assault going out against Eska here as he's getting hit not just by nades, but bullets as well, trying to hide behind those rafters. They're trying so desperately to fish him out, but they can't get the job done. Drip literally spamming it now in hopes of forcing the issue, and it does bring Eska lower, to be fair, but he's still not dead yet. Finds another pickup onto Filthy, loops around to try and deny Drip. It's not going to happen. Drip finally gets that kill that he's been looking far too long for and shuts out the round for Rentfree, putting them up on map point.
Best part of that round has got to be Drip just trying to bang through the metal box. Just sure
if I
willpower.
shoot it enough, it'll become bangable.
These are now armor-piercing rounds. Like this is that again right there. That just tells you how Rentfree plays this game. Like they will just it's sure willpower. It doesn't matter. You know, even if the game is coded that way, they will find a way around it. But either way, Rentfree still have an amazing, amazing round there. Even with the leadoff pick going to Altiora, a first blood didn't even matter. Rentfree decide to go for a nice clear downstairs, get some great pressure on the boxes area inside of Armory, and eventually able to pick up some frags from inside of blue from Thomas. I mean, some great stuff from all of them, just plugging in where they needed to. And I think that that's the beauty of this Rentfree roster, is that they can really put things together on the fly, and they just seem to work, especially on these offenses where time and time again, they've just proven how consistent they can be with this playstyle.
All right, well, this is it, ladies and gentlemen. It's do or die time now for Rentfree. They've got 2 opportunities to shut this one down before this game gets forced into overtime. Let's see if they can get the job done. Very similar case being brought to the table here, but we do also have a Twitch in play for Sweater, which we don't always get to see, but specifically have seen quite a bit from this weekend here on Rentfree, and will probably continue to do so. So time to see how this will pan out, how this may help the team trying to get into an execute position just a little bit quicker this time, as they are going up against the same defense from Altiora. Once again, having that extended roam upstairs too. So we're going to see 1 to 2 players sit here, and that'll have to be more than likely the initial objective from Rentfree, but they can also choose to ignore it and try to deal with it a little bit later on in the round when they attempt to pinch.
Yeah, on a pure operator basis, this is probably the worst round to play Twitch into, simply because the Mute and Mozzie are both up, but they're more than likely going to be strung around the top floor, and Sweater should be working these in towards site to try and get some utility pieces off the board. But the bad news is that he's really not going to have too much of an impact on that front either. Truly the only things on site that they're going to have to worry about are Banshees. So that's all going to be explosive required utility. So for the Twitch drones, not the best thing, but he's still going to have stun grenades as well as an F2. And that thing, even though got a lower ammo count, still a dastardly weapon. Spirits seem to know that somebody's inside of garage. Sonar in tow with him upstairs. So that seems to be the first moment in which the Twist wants to try and get aggressive, but he's going to lose to Spirits. That's an aggressive play from him, but he steps up at the right time. And as you said it, the case now down inside of garage. Altiora have control. Filthy's going to have to try and pick it back up.
Thankfully, no assertive control being maintained here by Altiora after they drop the case. It's way too out in the open for them to be able to do that. So, very minimum, Rentfree is able to retrieve that with minimal conflict. Still a massive loss, though, and once again, Altiora getting themselves off to a good start. Prophecy, in the meantime, walking in. There's motion sensors, but it doesn't matter. Drips also forced his way in from dirt and gotten a kill as well. Penguin trying to play to a long angle from Church, but it's not working. He gets shut out by Prophecy. Sonar, the only one that can maintain, it seems right now, has found a trade, but even he's going to go down to Filthy a second later. Thomas gets the final frag, and that's it. Rentfree take map 1, 7-4.
I'm telling you, man, it's like they spec'd everything in their skill tree to lethality. That's what it is. Like, they are the most lethal team that I have seen play Siege in a very long time. This roster right now is firing on all cylinders, John, and I don't know how anyone is going to stop them.
They're running the glass cannon build, you know?
Exactly. But even then, like, they still take some damage, but they just give it back 10 times fold. It's insanity. I really don't know how to make heads or tails of this. Altiora continue to get spun on their heels, and these rounds just continuing to fall into the bag of Rentfree. Really liking what I've been seeing so far.
All right, guys, well, we're not done just yet. Map number 2 is coming up right around the corner. Stick with us as we'll have the analysis desk as well right after this break.
Welcome back to the NASI 2021 qualifiers, where we only have 3 teams left, and it's about to be 2 if Altiora cannot get it together. And as Jesse was saying yesterday, Sweater is just better. He popped off along with the rest of Rentfree, and they took Clubhouse map 1 away from the Canada Division champions. Now, my analysts Jesse and Jacob, what do you make of that?
A lot of this seems pretty consistent with Rentfree's Challenger League behavior. The idea of really suffocating teams and swarming in before Altiora really understands how they need to counterattack. Now, they're not totally out of the game because a lot of Altiora's round wins did come from players making very, very quick moves. They have sharp reflexes. All of these guys are very potent fraggers when they want to be, but this just seems very consistent with the way that Rentfree typically play. And Clubhouse is also a map that they do tend to like a lot.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this is definitely standard Rentfree. They're running over the map. They're hitting their shots.
Was here, but yeah, no, this map was definitely it was pretty funny towards the end. We all saw just Rentfree just eager to get into these fights. It was pretty incredible. But this is what we expected from this. Jesse, look, did you walk away to get your flag?
He was muted in TeamSpeak still. Unbelievable. I can't believe he would do this.
Right. Jesse, now that you're here finally,
yeah,
the boys, Altiora, they took an L, man. Canada took an L, and it looked like they were playing scared. What's going on with your team?
Listen, it didn't look good, right? I think that a lot of these times, particularly on defense, right, you want to either get aggressive and make something happen for your team, or you want to play like pretty safe and hunker down and use your utilities smartly. They seem to sort of tread that line and not do it in a way that really did them any favors. Altiora did a lot of sort of just like chilling in their one spot, and then when they got a lot of pressure, they didn't get aggressive, they didn't fall back, they just sort of sat there until they died. They kind of were out in the open too often, they were re-peeking angles I really thought they shouldn't have, and that really does speak to me that, like, you know what, they're a little scared, they're not sure what to do, and Rentfree's a scary team, you know, I don't blame them for feeling that way, but I gotta say, I've consulted with the group chat, and spirits are still high, spirits kills are still high, and I think that there's still a lot of hope in the nation.
But that's that.
Right.
But Jesse, it has to be more than spirits.
Right.
I mean, take a look at the stats. He has 5 of 6 opening kills. He cannot do it all. Wait, Jacob, what is that? What you got to say, man?
Oh, no. Don't worry about it. I'm just looking at 2 double-digit kill counters on the side of Rentfree and everyone else looking like they're really holding their own. And on the opposite side, Filthy has as many kills as 2 players on Altiora combined. So, keep that Canada energy high, Jesse. Yeah.
So, Jacob, Now, looking at Rentfree, they look comfortable, man. It looked like they were playing their game from the beginning, from the get-go. And we saw with their lineups, and you noticed a pattern. Break it down for me.
Well, I want to say more often than not, they kind of had a very similar selection when it came to their defensive op selections. And some of this does lead back into the way that the meta is structured these days. You don't always have to bring a Wamai. His pick rate has definitely lessened since we saw his shields get taken away and one magnet removed from his arsenal. So he didn't see any play for Rentfree in their defensive half. But a lot of the ways in which they still decided to play on defense brought a lot of the same operators more consistently. There was almost always a Valkyrie that Sweater was rocking on defense. We saw predominantly a Smoke, I think, on every bomb site. There were a lot of instances where you'd see a Vigil or a Maestro run for some intel and intel denial, but more often than not, Rentfree are able to make the same operator selection with maybe one or two changes, very minor adjustments, work on every single site, and they know Clubhouse exquisitely well. So kudos to them for having that all figured out. They don't necessarily need to make any drastic changes to who they play in order to adjust how they play. And as far as I'm concerned, that shows a lot of maturity on their part.
Hey, Jacob, you know what they say? Consistency is key, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so there was a poll that we put out on our social media pages. The same pages I asked all of you to follow, by the way. And the question was, is Canada versus US? Who shows out more for their country? And who takes their team to the finals? I mean, Jacob, I ain't even got to ask Jesse. We all know which region won, right? So,
I mean, I'm pretty sure, yeah. I know that the Canadian group chat's definitely coming out in force on this one. And by the way, I'm not opposed to the idea of a Canadian team going all the way to the Invitational. I just question whether this is Altiora's time.
Do it. I don't know. But the choices were between Eska and Sweater. You and I are rocking USA. Jesse, is it safe to say you're rocking with Canada?
Oh, absolutely. No way the group chat lost to Twitter. Oh, they lost. But that's okay.
Yes.
Well,
That was beautiful timing. Thank you, production. That was great.
We're still rocking it. Oh, by the way, there is another giveaway. Now, Jacob, you and Jesse,
Ooh.
I remember you all put out a tweet, and, it was for a particular thing, but I put out one that was, kind of different. Now, mine's, and I put it up on my Twitter. Make sure you follow me at VeliCast. It's going to be retweeted by the Rainbow Six social media pages. But essentially, I said, tell me all about your New Year's resolution and make sure it's Rainbow Six Siege related. You can make it funny, you can make it good, interesting. I really don't care. As long as it catches my eye and I get a warm, tingly feeling on the inside when I read it, that'll be good enough for me. And I will give away that beautiful, that sleek Corsair skin. I just want to kiss it. But yeah, make sure you put in your responses, and I will choose a winner at the end of this series. We'll make it prompt, we'll announce it on stream, and I'll show you a lot of love. But map number 2.
Can I say what mine is real quick, just to get people really on the giveaway train? My New Year's resolution for Rainbow Six Siege in 2021 is to, I've had a 0.9 KD in Rainbow Six for the better part of the past year and a half. My resolution to myself is actually to make that total KD a big old 1.0. Like that's my ultimate goal. If it just gets to 1, then I can retire, never touch the game again, and everything will be square.
Are you gonna do it with or without Stokes' carry stack, though? That's the question. All right, so
you're never gonna let die that Stokes was the first person to carry me to plat. Okay,
no, not at all. Okay. Now, real quick, the players ready. We're going to Oregon for the second map. The players are locked in, and real quick, Jesse, I'm coming to you for this one. Do you think Altiora is going to make a comeback and take this to a third map?
Valley, there's not a doubt in my mind that Altiora are going to take Oregon an easy 7-0, and then what comes next? Coastline, another 7-0. We're going for a quick night 14-0.
I know that Jesse likes to say that he lives in the state of Alberta. I rather would like to believe he lives in a state of denial as of
All right, so here it is.
Alberta's not a state.
I don't care.
Jacob, not on broadcast. Don't do that to yourself. Listen, map number 2 is about to be underway. It's going to be Oregon. Rentfree, 1 map away from the SI 2021 Qualifiers. This is it. Blue and Stokes, take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, Belly. Canada doesn't even have states, right? Like they have territories, I thought is how it works.
Territories or provinces, or it's Canada, man. I don't know.
Either way. Hey, moving forward.
I thought
yeah,
he
they're
was
provinces.
American.
Sorry, provinces.
Is it provinces?
That's what
Oh,
Jesse's
man,
saying.
I'm so smart. Look at me.
Oh no, apparently territories as well,
And
according to Jesse. We're
territories?
just getting text messages
Oh,
now. But
man.
either way, let's focus on the match because we do have a very good one in front of us, and it is that pivotal Canada versus the USA matchup. It's going to go to Oregon for map number 2, and that is the big question as we go into it is Canada ready to come back? Are they going to be able to do so? What is Altiora going to bring to the table on this one, hopefully, Stokes?
That's a really, really good question, John, and I don't know if I exactly have an answer for you, mainly because Altiora has run into a lot of obstacles that they have still not found a solution for. Rentfree's been in their face for most of these rounds, taking these gunfights and winning most of them. Altiora obviously got some blows back, but it was just not enough. Ended up losing 7-4 on the last map, and going into Oregon, we're going to have Altiora on the defense. That'll be a strong start for them. Rentfree starting on offense, but it's really going to be up to Rentfree on how they want to play this. I assume that Altiora is going to be more aggressive this time around, as that really seemed to work into the favor of Spirits and Penguin.
Yeah, hopefully so. More than anything, I think getting in the way of the overall setup and strategy from the Rentfree roster might end up working out in their favor, especially in the early round. The late round, not sure how much you're going to be able to control it there because Rentfree does tend to be a bit more unpredictable in that matter. But if they can get the control early on, set up a solid 5v3 or even just a 5v4 advantage to build off of, that could be the building blocks of success for these defensive rounds. Let's find out if that's going to be the case, though. Into map number 2 we shall go. If you're just joining us, once again, it's Altiora versus Rentfree. Here at the last chance qualifiers for SI 2021 in North America. One of these two teams will be moving forward into tomorrow to play in the grand final.
Well, you know me, Blue. I'm always down for a good board game, so let's see if Altiora can build this Jenga tower of success like you were talking about, and if Rentfree is going to be the one to knock it down. Should be a lot of fun here, as we already have the bands rolling in for Oregon. Thatcher off the board. Can't be played anymore, so the EMP father himself not in for this one. But Haban now coming in. This is one that we've been seeing more and more often, and honestly, it's been mostly centralized around maps that have a lot of hatch-centric play. This is something that Habana is the queen of. I mean, she is the absolute best when it comes to getting hatches open, especially with her recent buff to where you can actually use their X-Kairos in different patterns. But that's to be said later on. We're not going to be seeing her for this one, and we won't be seeing Wilmai either.
Final band coming up in just a second. Once again, wouldn't be too surprised if we end up with the Valkyrie pick here. She's been pretty popular as a band, especially on this map where the cams can be pretty useful. Let's find out if that's going to be the case, or if we're going to be subverting expectations or not. That's disappointing. It's going to be Valkyrie once again getting knocked out here.
I mean,
I was
what
really
else do
hoping
you
for a
expect?
curveball there to throw me off, but
They bend Cav. They just want to make sure that Rentfree
never
doesn't
know,
have
man.
any options.
I'm down for a fun ban every once in a while. But either way, moving into the rounds now.
And the semifinals of SI Quals?
Hey.
You're in for a fun ban?
You never
Oh,
know.
no. I mean, hey, you really don't. You really don't. But, well, it seems as though things are going back to what we saw from Rentfree yesterday, John. Dokkaebi coming into the lineup. They were so strong with this operator whenever they picked it up. Thomas is a fantastic Dokkaebi player. The SMG-12 play was great. The EBR play was great. But instead, they're going to go on over to Twitch. Might switch back here, don't really know. But be looking for that Dokkaebi in the future. This isn't the first time that you're going to see it on their offensive half.
Actually, the SMG-12 clutch. We want to talk about that one as well from Thomas that he was able to get yesterday. I think that was on Villa, to be fair, but either way, some really impressive stuff from him. Not going to be seeing that just as of yet, though, because as Stokes mentioned, it's been 6 picked away over towards the Twitch instead. We are going to be in a kid setup, though, here from Altiora. Not necessarily going to be expecting anything crazy. We do have the castle in play, which is going to allow for greater capability to reinforce, especially towards the big window area, obviously. But other than that, we'll take a look. Yes, thank you very much. We're going to have the deployable shield setup on the bed, so a little bit more aggressive to the inside of Master is how this is going to be played this time by Altiora.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have okay, that's a thing. Altiora really opening up the playbook here. So they're going to allocate the Goyo shield inside of Master with reinforcements to prevent anything happening from Armory. That's usually would be the counter if you want to play somebody in here. So very smart to put the, I believe, mute jammer there. Yep, as my screen actually goes back to its regular resolution, I can see that. So mute jammer there. I'll keep that wall locked down, but they've got a lot of utility dedicated in this area. And from what we saw yesterday, Rentfree really liked that big tower take. as well as opting sometimes over to the double window where we saw a lot of pressure happening on that end. So we'll see how they read this situation. The castle barricades are going to make things a touch weird for them. They do have obviously the soft destruction to handle that, so it's not too big of a problem, but bringing castle on this site is definitely telling of, you know, what's to come when you go for that execution.
First minute of the round, just about so anyway, having gone by here. Pretty quiet so far. Altiora definitely taking a passive stance, but at the same time, Rentfree not trying to execute too aggressively either. Even over there towards the big tower area, only taking control of just the tower itself. Haven't really seen them extend outward to try and clear out any potential roaming spots as of yet, so going to be more than likely focused pretty heavily on the site for most of the action within this round here. So job has been done to breach the attic wall. They're going to get themselves past that relatively quickly. Now we can start to see more players move into position to actually begin to pressure the attic itself. As you can see, the Ash and a few others starting to work their way through the breach. But at the same time, you can also see the defenders have full view of this, so they know exactly what's going on.
Fantastic yokai placement here from Euphoria. That's going to give Altiora a lot of intel inside of attic, and this could be the difference maker when it comes to this engagement. But already some soft destruction down that'll get rid of the barbed wire, and a lot of pressure coming in, but mostly just stun grenades. No one actually making the forward move to try and take down the spirits, as he's still currently laying down inside of the swamp area, and attic is trying to stay alive and continue to waste time for Altiora. Drip and the rest of Rentfree, though, still trying to find their way into the site across the map. They're mostly strung along the basement area right now, with a few odds and ends around the main entry points. Thomas in attic still, as well as another player over near double. That's going to be filthy with the case, so it does seem as though Rentfree wants to go for that double window hop into a plant.
40 seconds remaining, though, so the plan will need to be executed quickly, assuming that they're not already trying to go for it now. Drip is just a full commitment to his angle, is going to allow him to pick one up. The problem, though, Spirits now finding the train on the Thomas is going to quickly wrap back out. Beautifully done as he takes down Sweater. Tries to go in one more time to attempt to take down Drip, but not going to work out this time, and Filthy gets a trade elsewhere. Drip has repositioned to the first floor and is more than likely going to group up with his team by white, but with only 18 seconds left, how do they make this push work? They don't have the pressure on Repel anymore. They've got to brute force it.
No
and
way.
the timing works out so well for Drip. Walks up, gets the back of the head of Eska. Even so, 2 versus 3 here now. They have to try and work their way in and force the plant, and they cannot mess this one up. Spirits is looking to deny, so is Euphoria, but Spirits will be denied himself. Euphoria already taking damage. The case now down on the ground, but ultimately Rentfree trades it into their favor. They take round number 1.
Scary, scary stuff happening there down to the wire for both of these squads. Euphoria almost having the lineup for that MP5 SD to deliver 2 fatal shots, but just couldn't find them. All of a sudden, a round goes to Rentfree. Solid gameplay from them, handling the map with precision. Didn't even touch the master setup. A lot of squads recently have been going for master off rip. We saw that earlier today on Oregon, and we saw that on both the Oregon maps that we saw yesterday as well. And that's what that, setup is mostly intended to stop. But obviously, Rentfree completely go around it. They go for the big window take instead, with a little bit of pressure over towards attic, just to draw some attention away and possibly lead into a late round push that could have worked out for them. But they didn't need it at the end of the day. They got down to the 3 versus 3, and Rainbow Siege to Chunk is willing. They found a kill on timing.
So Basement Hold's going to be up next here for Altiora. No major changes in the overall setup here for them, and I imagine that the actual site setup is going to be very much the same thing, although we've got quite a few roam-capable operators, so I am somewhat curious to see if they're going to do anything a little bit more out in the open in this round when you consider that. Like, for instance, no Goyo being brought to the table, so no shields to be deployed here. We've got a lot of very open and free operators that could move around this map at will, but let's find out exactly what they're going to be trying to do here.
5 seconds left.
A little bit of an update from the analyst desk. Shout out to our resident Canadian once again, Jesse. Although this is RF's pick, it's also Altiora's best map. They've won it 4 times in the NAL and have only lost it once. So that's actually a pretty big stat line, especially since Canada's honestly becoming no slouch. I think there's been a massive amount of success for a lot of these rosters. They've been growing as teams, and it's starting to fully flush out. I like what I've been seeing from up north quite a lot recently. So Altiora stepping up right now and giving Rentfree a run for their money on Oregon, but that needs to continue on. Decent amount of damage onto Drip, and actually quite a lot. He's going to actually eat that up from trying to torch a line here inside of the wall, but ends up actually getting a grenade kill as well. Thought Sonar would get it with the M590, but that's not the case. That's going to be 2 kills already into Rentfree's pocket. Penguin now in a very poor position, gets caught off guard inside of E-Box's Prophecy, takes him down. Euphoria, though, still alive upstairs, able to trade things back. 2 versus 4 right now, with Eska being the only one on site.
Actually, a surprisingly small amount of control that Rentfree has taken despite getting this many kills, and that's probably because of the fact that they've been in a constant battle this entire time, and more than likely nervous about the positions of the 2 other players as well. Eska still trying to work from downstairs, and Euphoria still trying to play from the hatch, but the hatch play will be outright denied. Euphoria will go down relatively quickly, and the C4 from Eska will not yield much. A nice snap. Oh, not just on the Drip, but Thomas as well. He will, however, get caught trying to hop outside of the laundry closet, with Filthy getting the final kill and Rentfree taking the round.
Well, that was surely something there for just a second, but it was really, really good right up until he died. And then from there on out, I mean, the round's already Rentfree's.
Great analysis.
That's all I got, man. That was like all of the trades initially went right into Rentfree's favor. I thought Drip was going to die by pressuring the stock wall, but that didn't happen at all. They ended up getting picks across the map, but you basically took the words right out of my mouth. It was very awkward how they had map control with so many picks. They just didn't really have pillar control. And with having the Mozzie upstairs, they couldn't work E-Box how they wanted to, so they had to try and find some different avenues. Their choice was to try and pressure Freezer, or excuse me, the Freezer hallway instead, while also making sure that, Drip works that angle on storage. So they had a really nice pinch there to, translate that into a plant and get that plant off in a very unorthodox spot that Altiora wasn't ready for. The Nitro Cell goes wide, and that truly was going to be the last saving piece that Altiora had in their pocket. Other than that, Rentfree walk away pretty cleanly with a round.
All right, guys. So this is turning into a bit of a small snowball right now in Rentfree's favor. Plenty of time, to be fair, for Altiora to turn it back around in their own favor. But these are 2 very, very promising rounds from Rentfree to start out the map with.
Oh my God, what is this?
What, the setup here?
This is going to be really, really cool. This is actually going to be really, really cool. I hate to cut you off here.
No, you're good, because I was kind of wondering if they would do this in the previous round anyway with their operator lineup. So
yeah, so this is and specifically this little tidbit right here that Euphoria has set up with the kitchen rotate hole. This is something that you used to see a lot on the original Oregon when people would hold downstairs, because you have a lot of opportunities to fall back to site, so you can hold on to meeting for a while and try and waste some time. A lot of the times though, teams would obviously just try and take attic control, pop the hatch, and get some damage off onto you, or if a lead-off pick goes in the favor of the offense, that's really going to change things up, because now you have a choice. Do you want to actually get back onto site safely, or are you going to try and hold off upstairs? For Altiora, it seems as though that choice is pretty simple. We're going to drop one off and keep Euphoria inside of meeting.
Gonna see nice kill found from Altiora, but just like the last map, it's so quickly traded there by Rentfree. Once again, they're able to get a second kill for themselves. That's now Penguin dead on top of Spirits, who was found earlier on. Normally their first point of contact, too. So Spirits losing, definitely not a good sign for the rest of this round for Altiora here. Rentfree has pretty much the entire top floor under their control now. Not much of a roam game left here, with the exception of Eska, I do believe. Sonar and Euphoria are focused downstairs on holding the site itself. Drones actually haven't found out Eska just as of yet, so he might be able to sneak in here. However, as I say that, I did catch Drip out of the corner of my eye. He's absolutely watching this, so never mind. Eska definitely realized he's going to have to fall back more than likely. Oh, that's an unfortunate catch on the grenade.
Yeah, every once in a while those doors have a lip on the bottom of them, and well, you get what you get. Ends up getting caught, and the frag grenade goes off on the other side of the wall, but really wouldn't have done any damage to Eska anyways, as he's already moved back. But Rentfree getting low on time right now, still getting some drone work done on the actual site as they start to apply pressure, but they're still going to have to worry about this roam game. This is where those picks are definitely going to assist them. Eska trying to translate this roam game into something. He hasn't been able to find too much so far. Had some good aggression earlier on, but that was read out, and it seems as though somebody's already ready for him once again. Shots in from the back. Eska's going to take some damage, but he also gives a little bit. Prophecy working his way up, and oh, what a snap from Eska. Sit down, Prof. Trip follows suit as well. All of a sudden, a 3v2 in favor of the defense. As Eska still on roam game, this is a great opportunity for them to try and make some magic happen. Filthy's going to take quite a bit of damage from that Toxic Babe. Both of these players effectively two-shot for the time being.
He's trying to be very, very cautious about how he lurks from this point forward, but it's not going to matter. He'll lose his teammate. It's all on to Filthy now, and even he can't make it happen. Euphoria gets that final pick. After some great play from Eska and the other members of Altiora, they finally get themselves their first round on the board here on number 3.
Well, this is the first time that Rentfree truly tries to ignore a roam game. And it ends up working out for them. I mean, we obviously had some pushes that we saw yesterday, actually, when they played club that kind of worked in the same manner. But this time around, didn't really go in their favor. I mean, Altiora are really able to step up to the plate, and specifically Eska. That's the best round we've seen from him so far throughout this entire series. And if there's a time for him to get on the scoreboard, it's right now. Penguin and Spirits have been leading the show for this squad so far. Oregon is seemingly being a little bit different, but obviously it's still very early on to call. We're just now entering round 4 here, as we should be headed upstairs towards dorms, and that's exactly where we're going to end up. So Goyo Shield back in play for Penguin, and the rest of the squad rounding out the rest of what we saw prior. It seems as though they want to go for the same setup. So Goyo Shield down inside of the master area on top of the actual bed, then some ADSs to guarantee that Penguin Shield stays alive. So Altiora, strong setup, but I feel like Rentfree is just going to circumnavigate it just like they did the last time.
Let's see if that's going to end up being the case here. The setup from Altiora did falter on the initial attempt, but recommitting themselves to it, along with the fact that we still bring castle barricades into the fold for this hold as well. Eska will bring that back one more time here, looking very, very similar to what we've already seen back on that first attempt here, Stokes had mentioned. And now Rentfree is going to try to work their way past it yet again. They'll spawn themselves out and begin to commit to the inside. To be a lot of focus on Big Tower, as you would kind of expect against this hold here, so they'll be working very quickly to try and deal with the reinforcements on the attic wall. Meanwhile, Prophecy, it looks like Sweater as well, going to try to take out Penguin as quickly as possible, or at a very minimum deal with the shield and force Penguin himself back.
This actually might be a change-up in calls. We'll have to see here. Just to remind you guys, Rentfree really didn't get any intel on what was going on over here the last time. So, but it seems like they've already game planned for this. You can see Ash quickly moves in from Garage. Rentfree's seen this before, and they know exactly how to act. Now, here's the big problem. It doesn't seem as though Altiora have any other reinforcements, and now there's a gaping hole inside of the master closet. That's so much map control for anybody on the balcony. You can hold a beautiful cross through here and make sure that people like Penguin playing around white right now are not going to have a good time.
Spirit's trying to maintain his position here on the inside of Attic. He's going to be incredibly crucial to the success or failure of his team's defense within this round. If he goes down, that's a complete pincer that Rentfree has access to should they take Spirits out, and it's a relatively safe one as well, as I believe the walls behind Spirits are currently reinforced, so that's going to allow for quite a bit of execution potential. It's actually one soft, just to excuse myself there real quick, but either way, it's still going to work out in the attacker's favor should he go down here. Eska, though, very well played, spots the brim of the hat from Ash, moves in and takes down Sweater off of that. Spirits is going to take some hits on the inside of Attic, but it matters not. Prophecy, in the meantime, will get the trade. The earlier kill that Eska found, and that'll lead to the elimination of Sonar. Filthy committing himself to the inside of Master. Now we'll deal with the attic wall to make sure there's going to be no trickery from the other side of it from Spirits.
So far, great take here from Rentfree, but Altiora finally fighting back, and it seems as though this defensive setup is a playground for Eska, as he's now onto the triple kill. Penguin picks one up across the map. Now 1v3 for Thomas, the team captain of Rentfree, having to step up to the plate and try and clutch things up. He doesn't have case control right now, but he has a good read on where the castle could possibly be. They know his last coordinates are obviously inside of the master closet. Thomas continues to check these, but here's where the ARX runs into some problems. He's got very low mag count. He's actually going to end up downing Eska, and that's also the other beauty of this gun. If you tap somebody once, it's practically half their HP. This thing throws absolute bricks at people. Still has to worry about 2 people, though. With only 20 seconds remaining, he's got a decision to make. Still has one down here that he knows about, but obviously the intel going in for him as well. Doesn't seem as though he can possibly get through that, but he's going to make sure to confirm the down person, just to make sure Eska can't feed back any information to his last remaining teammates. Good moves here from Thomas so far. Pre-fire fires in, but it's read out by Spirits. Great play from him as Altiora pick up round 4.
Thomas pre-firing everybody except the live ones, unfortunately, as he's going to get cut off here. You can see from Spirit's POV just as he finally meets his match. And that will lead to another 1 round from Altiora. Some massive individual efforts coming out here on Altiora, mainly from Eska, as he's been able to shut down some of the more successful aggressive pushes that have been starting these rounds out well from Rentfree, ultimately to falter due to his and the rest of the team's efforts. Eska's this is deeper in the site itself when they have to commit to the executes. Over to Kitchen and Dining Hall next. They're going to go for the sites that are next to each other here instead of going for the meeting hall one and having you extend out from that one. And this will lead us into a pretty interesting defense, which we'll talk about in a moment once we actually get in game. And this is an interesting 6-pick too from Thomas, yeah.
Well, we could see the back door possibly. We'll have to see exactly what happens with that. But Thomas picking up Nook, an operator that we really never see very often inside of competitive Siege. Really, the only player picking her up was Aces from Rogue. That was quite some time ago. Really haven't even seen him, I don't think, playing that too much. But my EUL knowledge has continued to dwindle as, I work on the North American broadcast, so who really cares about them just yet, No international competitions this year. We have to wait, man. We gotta work with what we have, So, but honestly, this operator has a lot of opportunities that she can possibly create simply because she goes completely around cameras. The only issue is now, though, is that since they are going to be running Mira and she's more than likely going to be utilizing these on the front line, there really is only a choice for Thomas to try and hit the back. That's really it. Other than that, he's going to be seen, and it's obviously going to be useless on what his kit actually does. But the other beauty of it is she also has frag grenades. So again, like we were talking about way earlier in the day when we were talking about, secondary utilities, having frag grenades as your secondary makes it to where it makes you can work an operator into your lineup a heck of a lot easier.
So Thomas working on a lurk to go down into the basement, and he's been able to get in there without any issue, as you kind of might expect. To be fair, we are playing on a first floor site. Now the question is, how far is he going to be able to get? Because like Stokes was mentioning, he can walk past cameras for free. He doesn't have to worry about giving intel over to the defenders in that respect. But pay close attention to these Altiora members. We want to keep an eye on if they're starting to shift their gaze over towards that freezer stairs position, because that's where Thomas is more than likely going to come from in a second. Here comes the lurk. He's made it to the top stairs, and now he's got a choice to make. Does he risk swinging this? He's going to walk right up. There we go. Player's back's right open. Tries to get another one, but he will be shut down. However, it does serve as an opener, and it opens up security for additional pushes as well. However, just as I say that, Eska finds another one. Prophecy will be able to trade that out, however, and Filthy will push the advantage one player further by eliminating Sonar. Penguin's only at 50 HP, holding just outside of security here, and Euphoria, the only one left at full. Gonna have to try their best to fend this off against the 3 players still standing from Rentfree, and they're now flooding into the site.
So much time left on the clock, but not very many bodies for Altiora as Penguin's now down and dusted. Euphoria, the only remaining member here for the Altiora squad on this defense. Gonna need some assistance, as it seems as though he's got no drones to assist him to try and stop this plant. It seems as though Rentfree know where he is as well, as they start sending shots in towards the hatch, but could possibly make a play over towards White, and it seems like he's obligated to do so. Starts pushing down, but it seems as though he's already been read out by the Zofia. Gets one. Can he get the flick out of the shower? Just a little bit too fast on the rotation there. So has some good intel that he can possibly utilize, but now he's down to 1 shot. Even with that 3 armor being Echo, I mean, there's nothing he can really possibly do inside of these gunfights. He's going to have to win them off rip. Let's see if Euphoria can hit these shots. Initial one comes in, but Drip with the wide swing takes him down. And Rentfree, off the back of some cool Nook play, find round 5.
One more stacked up for our attackers here as they're trying to claim as best of a score as possible for switching over. And that'll be coming up very, very soon here. This is the final round of the half, the final round for our friends on Rentfree to try to make impact here and set themselves up for success to close out in the second half. Remember, they're the ones that are looking for the win here. They're the ones that are looking for the 2-0 closeout. Altiora, in the meanwhile, is fighting for survival and is fighting very, very closely with Rentfree. No clear winner as of yet, but if Rentfree manages to get the 4-2, that's definitely going to be dangerous for Altiora.
Okay, well, Thomas going to continue to go around the 6-pick roulette and continue to pick operators that Altiora don't exactly have a game plan for. Dokkaebi getting picked up. Obviously, Mute Jamrus can counteract that, but he's been switching back and forth through a myriad of different things. It's been a carousel so far. So back onto the Dokkaebi. We've played Nook. We've played Twitch. So far, it seems that Nook and Doke have had the most influence over these rounds. But obviously, Tommy getting back onto the Dokkaebi, that's what we like to see. These phone calls is how Rentfree have gotten so many opportunities early on in the history of their matches, and they just make really, really good use of that utility. So having this is going to assist with them clearing out any roam game that Altiora has, but I don't think that we're going to be seeing, actually, I'm going to back up this just a little bit before I say that. We are going to be seeing a little bit of this from Altiora. So this is actually going to be prime time for Thomas to have this Doke.
Find out what he can catch with those phone calls. See if catch anybody in the midst of these halls here. We'll see in just a second. We've got Rentfree out on the table. However, we still have a roam game that's also alive and well from Altiora that Rentfree are absolutely going to have to deal with before they can even think about focusing on the basement. Same as the previous round, it looks like it's going to be stacked primarily on the inside of Meeting Room here between Penguin and Euphoria, but of course, we also have the additional player on the other side of the map. Eska is lurking towards Small Tower too. Probably not going to see much from him there, though, because Rentfree are pretty much in the open. However, going to go for this window here. Doesn't really give him much, though, is the problem. But Spirits is finding his marks. He's going to be able to find the opening pickup. Jumps out the window to get a second. Thomas will deny the third, though, but the damage is still done. It matters not. They've got it down to that 4v3.
Well, there's only one way to counter out Rentfree, and it's out Rentfree. At least that's what Spirit thinks, is we go for a flight right out the second story window of Big Tower and find two, and there's really not any more influence he needs to have over the round. The Hard Destructor's dead, Drip's gone, and now Rentfree have to try and pick up the pieces. Euphoria is still existing inside of Meeting, but he drops down instead just to pick things back up with these basement players. They honestly don't have too much more to do. It's in Rentfree's hands now to try and win this round.
The only good news here for Rentfree out of this situation is that it's all happened incredibly early on. Still with half the round to play out here. So Rentfree are not dead in the water just yet, but they're very close to it. If they aren't going to be able to find solid positioning to work off of here in the next minute or so. Taking a look at Altiora, they've pretty much fallen back entirely as well. They have no reason to panic about their... And actually, no, they're still extended. Eska is going to get another frag here from the depths of the kitchen. He takes down Thomas while trying to clear that out. And now Filthy and Sweater, the only hope left here for the team. And they're both incredibly split from each other. If one goes down, there's almost no guarantee of a trade.
Well, looks to be Eska pulling a page out of Thomas's book from Clubhouse. So he'll make a play inside of Kitchen as well and take him down. Nitro Cell out for Penguin, grabs Sweater's life, and Filthy, the last heartbeat here for Rentfree inside of their offensive half. They desperately need some help, but no. Sonar delivers the killing blow to this take as he takes down Filthy inside of E-Box. Altiora tying things up on the defense, 3-3.
I feel bad for Filthy there, trying to make the Selma's work at the end of the round. Tried to put it on two different walls, and he was 0 for 2. Both of them ended up being mute jams. So no luck there on trying to open up any sort of alternate angle to clutch that out from outright denial from Altiora. And that's exactly what we needed to see, was them battling back into this, because now they've tied it up at 3-3. This is anyone's game going into the later half.
Okay, well, basement setup now for Rentfree. Now, obviously, we saw them yesterday on Oregon, John, and I don't know what you thought about Rentfree, but it seemed as though they are not afraid to be aggressive on this map in the slightest. They want to get in your face, they want to get these kills early, and they want to continue to try and snowball that into the later half of the round. So as for Rentfree and what I think they're about to bring to the table, I feel like it's going to be more of the same of what we saw from those roams on Clubhouse.
All right, guys, well, let's take a look and see if that's going to hold itself to be true here in the case of Rentfree. They're looking to shut this one down quickly. They do bring a much more normal operator lineup to the table, though, for what we expect. And it's not even, to be fair, that different from what we had on Altiora's side of things. The main differences are coming in just in the fact that we have Drip on the Maestro and Sweater on the Goyo, which are the two standards that you generally have employed on this site. The explosive shields, for obvious reasons, to hold players back. Quite a few choke points that the attackers need to get control of, so those shields can be very useful in that respect. And then, of course, the Maestro for both the Evil Eyes, those nearly indestructible cameras sitting in the corner, unless you want to use soft breach material on it, as well as just the Alda that comes with him.
Attackers are moving out to
Yeah, and as well as Maestro is just always going to be more strong with Melusi in play as well. And that might sound weird when I initially say it, but the thing is that you have to choose where you want to lay these explosives, either creating new angles or trying to utilize them in order to get rid of all of this utility. And when he's in tow with an operator like Melusi, that's 5 pieces of an explosive required utility piece on the defense. So that's a really, really big thing that Altiora is going to have to look into and try and figure out. As for these Goyle shield placements, though, they're nowhere that is going to cause any harm to any of these Rentfree players. In fact, actually, they're where they're going to cause a lot of damage to Altiora. Sweater is going to move one of them, though, over towards Pillar as soon as I say that. Previously set up to try and stop any plants going down around the B-bomb chassis, but this is actually quite an interesting setup. We haven't seen someone utilize an angle like this through E-Box in quite some time.
All quiet for right now. As Altiora prepares to breach themselves down the stairs more fully here, and more importantly, deal with the hatch work that also needs to be done. Spirit's just getting in a position, though, to deal with the Banshee that's sitting on the midpoint of those stairs. And away from that, both teams just kind of waiting for these hatches to breach out. Not a lot of aggression being postured here by the Rentfree roster, even over here by the Freezer Stairs side. You just have Filthy about halfway up the Freezer Stairs, not fully committed to the inside of security, as we had seen with Altiora's own hold in the previous half. With this hatch open, Altiora now has at least their initiating point that they want to use to try and get in here, and also a very nice frag will go back there. Misses the first shield, I think, but does take out the second one that Drip was using as an actual reinforcement. And I'll correct myself, the first shield did get taken down by that too, so it's actually knocked out both. Sweater's going to take some heat here as a frag grenade goes very close to him and brings him down to sub 25. Rentfree, are they ready to fend this off now? That's the question, because Altiora are certainly ready to attack.
Yeah, getting set up very quickly now as they have construction as well as a good start here over inside of Freezer as Sonar picks up a straggler, Prophecy down. So all of a sudden it's in Altiora's favor. Trying to fire back, but they hear an air jab go off upstairs. It seems as though there is a rotation here from Rentfree. It's going to be Filthy, actually, but Drip gets traded out downstairs. Filthy follows things up with a nice kill onto Sonar, and oh no, Rentfree now trying to run away with things. Penguin and Spirits, the only two near sight to try and force their way in. Euphoria with a nice pickup as well, but Sweater fires back, able to get a Nitro Cell kill that could be the game changer. Penguin falls down with Case. It's all left up to the last player, Euphoria, inside of construction. He's stuck with no Case control in the slightest, and he's gonna get cut off from Filthy. He's just that much better, reads him like a book, and Rentfree close out round 7.
Team kill swords the end. So unfortunate there as they're trying desperately to control the situation, only to lose one to their own mistakes. That's going to be a very, very important round for Rentfree to set themselves ahead of the pack now at 4-3, and they'll look to continue to do that as they move upstairs into kids and dorms. Very aggressive stance being taken on defense as well. The late push into attic as well as other areas outside of the basement in order to get in the way of the overall push from Altiora. Definitely slowed them down, as up until that point where we saw the roam game coming into the picture, things were looking really good for Altiora, primarily because Rentfree hadn't tried to take any action against them, and they were just setting up their attack slowly, piece by piece, as that round was going by. Do want to remind you guys as well one more time about a cool little promotion that we are currently running in game for the Corsair skin. I believe it's for the MPX. We're running a challenge in game right now, and I believe we're running a giveaway too. We may have announced the winner for that one already, or at least picked the winner. So I don't know if you could still enter that one, but you can go head over to our socials and check that out as well at R6 Esports NA on our Twitter. We retweeted something earlier for a giveaway. But on top of that, if you head in game right now, there's a mission you can do to play 5 PvP matches, and you'll get yourself that skin through that method as well. Be sure to go ahead and game and check it out now from our friends at Corsair.
Yeah, pretty sick MPX skin. It's actually one of the best ones in the game right now, so definitely make sure to go check that one out. I love that like black carbon look that they have going on. Really, really solid stuff from them. But we got a game going on, John. Altiora versus Rentfree, and it's close. 4-3 right now in favor of Rentfree after they just picked up that last defensive round. They're transitioning this into a dorms hold upstairs, so we'll see if they can find the same result or if Altiora will have something to say about it. Off rip, Altiora's got the exact same offensive lineup as they had the last time. Euphoria still rocking the Nomad, so look to see if those air jabs can possibly catch some late rotations from Rentfree once again, because it surely happened the last time. Rentfree are never scared to try and make a play, and it seems as though, Altiora are starting to account for that.
Much like the previous rounds, though, everything's going to be quiet at the start here. Not a lot of out and direct contention coming in from either Rentfree or the Altiora roster. Altiora focusing with at least 2 of their players on getting that walk-in closet open very early on, and they'll certainly accomplish that as there's not much resistance on it. The Selmas go down without much of an issue, especially because we don't have any direct contention coming in from Rentfree to the inside of Master itself. This is also going to allow Eska to move into Arsenal. So we've already got quite a few players built up upstairs, but are they going to be able to transition it into the site? That is always the building question here. Still waiting to see how exactly the Attic team is faring as well. They're still working on getting their way past that. But even if they do, you'll notice there's actually not a whole lot in the way of resistance here from Rentfree. They're actually going to kind of let Altiora take the large majority of the Attic, at least from the way I'm looking at the silhouettes right now.
Yeah, you are correct. They're giving up quite a bit of map control here. Not really contesting, but it is going to be a trade, in between Sweater and Eska. I'm a little bit ahead there on my words, but not going to matter too much. Case now down inside of Trophy, so Rentfree will at least know that, and an equal trade really is never a bad thing, especially when you're getting rid of Penguin. The hard destruction now gone, but bad thing is most of the hard destruction is already done for Altiora. They've pushed ahead now inside of Attic, but they still need to get a leadoff pick onto site here. They already got one, but since it's been traded back, they still have to deal with a lot of these angles, and they'll only contest as many as the defense can obviously defend. Spirits will pick up one, though, onto Drip, and that's going to be a huge kill, actually. Drip, usually the backbone of this setup with that Alda.
Spirits as well. Good catch to save his own life. Just a couple seconds before that, saw that he had the camera intel on him and quickly checked down below to make sure no one was trying to pull a trick on him from the hatch. And he was right to try and check that as he nearly lost himself. Had he not moved, could have found himself a dead man in that situation. Ended up going down in the process of killing Drip too, but has been retrieved, thankfully, so he's back up and in the fight. But now we're entering those last 30 seconds. Altiora trying to work their way over. What is this? Filthy should have gotten the info from down below on the Banshee, but doesn't seem to have gotten it. And we're going to see a free walk-up happen here. Thomas is going to have to be the saving grace now as he picks up a double from the backside. Prophecy finding one as well. They're going to hold it regardless, or maybe not. Sonar finds a trade again. He's down at 1 HP. Got to win it out now versus Prophecy. Prophecy taking some big hits here. He's low now as well. The swing. Oh, and the instant lock from Prophecy onto the head of Sonar. Rentfree take round 8.
I mean, there's one foot in a grave, and then there's just uppercutting somebody. Prophecy, my God, man, that was some insanity. Oh, coming down to the wire in between these two. AK-12 almost dealing enough damage to kill the Jaeger, but was all for naught. Rentfree get yet another round after they shut down Altiora. And what was, I believe, a 2v4, 2v5? That was some insane gameplay from Thomas and Prophecy.
2v4 at least, to be sure. They're really good stuff, especially from Thomas. That was looking like it could have very easily been a lost round. Things were snowballing out of their control, but that's never really the case, it seems, in Siege, as Thomas starts it off with a nice double kill. I believe one more on top of that as well to stop that round from being ended by Altiora, and more importantly, to allow Rentfree to maintain an even greater advantage now at 5-3. Just 2 more rounds separate them from the final versus Beast Coast tomorrow.
All right, well, Altiora, this is your time. You need to step up and make a difference inside of these next handful of rounds. Otherwise, Rentfree will more than likely be on their way to the finals here on Sunday. Altiora should have a couple of words to say about that, though, and that's exactly what we're looking forward to now. No adjustment inside of the operator lineup, and you can't exactly blame them. They're using quite a universal operator list right now. And they've obviously gotten quite a bit of pressure on these Rentfree members. It's just been Rentfree being that much better inside of the clutch time and time again. Feels like we are just watching a rerun of what happened over on Clubhouse. Very similar score lines as well in between these two. So Rentfree continuing this snowball into the second map, looking quite dominant on Oregon so far.
Let's take a look, see what Altiora is going to be able to bring to the table this time around here. They're very quick on the attack, to be fair now. They work their way in. They're just busting through to the inside of Cafeteria here, working their way past all of the soft breach that's been set up. I mean, you can look at this. 4 explosions in just a few seconds. Definitely drawing the attention of Rentfree, as now Altiora has maintained positioning. They're still going to have a lot more work to do, though, before they can even attempt to make a play, more than likely here.
Is this a possible rush? I mean, they're not exactly rushing. They're just working through their utility very, very quickly. I mean, look at this. Not even a minute off the board. We've got hard destruction done, barbed wire cleared, shields cleared, smokes down. There's so many things happening for Altiora right now. I'm actually really surprised that they're all staying on the same page. This is some great gameplay, honestly. Rentfree, though, now to answer. There's definitely something they can do here. Air jab on the door, but Sweater's going to have so much to actually see through this main kitchen door here from all the soft destruction from Altiora. This is going to get really awkward over here in this cafeteria area just because of the crossfires that people aren't going to be used to. This isn't something that you traditionally see. Nitro Cell out. Can it get him? It can't. The Ash moves forward, takes him down. Great play from Spirits, but he almost dies as well. Lots of drones getting eaten up on Altiora's side as well. So the drone economy starting to dwindle, especially after Thomas gets an additional. Free Fire's in, but just trying to maintain control up top. Sonar actually wins the gunfight as he hops in the double window, and it's all down to Thomas to try and hold things down. Actually, no. Drips upstairs.
Eska finds the next pickup here against Thomas. Oh my goodness. Drip doesn't even see the player that kills him, I'm pretty sure. And now everything is left to Filthy. The 1v4 set before him. Clean first kill. Can he wrap it? Yeah. And now he's going to go down even lower, though. Just a single sliver of HP left. He's got to try and find some way to clutch this out in the 1v2 now. He's got intel on the sights, thankfully, and he might actually have the capability to deny, but no. Unfortunately, the cams are not in the right spot for that, and Eska's read the play. Counters him out on the freezer rotate, shuts him down. Altiora takes this round.
That just really sucks for him because it doesn't seem as though he understood what angle Eska was holding, and he just ran to the top of freezer stairs, immediately dies. So very unfortunate that he popped the camera there, but both of these teams just going blow for blow right now, and this is exactly what we want to see from Altiora. Again, the jig is up. It's now or never. They're either going to SI or they're losing it all here. There is no in between. So Altiora, as of right now, just need to pull out all the stops. We need to see the deepest play in the book. I know you're trying to hold things till Sunday, but you can't use them on Sunday if you don't get there.
All right, well, see if these teams have what it takes to bring the win to the table here. We are going to get a 6 pick as well from Altiora, as Jackal's going to be swapped out. Interestingly enough for Ace, not usually the swap you would see, as these swaps tend to generally happen within the same role. It seems it's not going to be the case this time for Sonar, as all of their hard breach will need to be done by Penguin on the Maverick instead.
Well, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Give me both.
Okay, so good news, why not? Altiora pick up their very first round with a plant in pretty convincing fashion, able to out-trade Rentfree at their own game, and actually get some good pressure in downstairs, and a very well synchronized setup. I mean, they seem to all maintain, being on the same page, and transitioning through all of the different parts of the round extremely well. But the issue is now, though, is that Rentfree are back onto the beginning of the site triangle. They go back to basement, more than likely will go to dorms after this, and they won both of these. The only one that wasn't exactly convincing just so happened to be dorms with that clutch up from Thomas and Prophecy.
All right, well, for Rentfree here, do or die time, at least for their current lead, as Altiora are knocking on the door of it here with only one round to go before they tie things up again at 5-5. Prophecy going to be spotted out here first on the initial drone from Spirits, and Thomas as well, waiting patiently over in the side hall with a standard deployable shield. It's going to begin to deny the access here, but it's going to be Sonar, who's already down Freezer, that starts things off. That'll be quickly shut down by Prophecy. Now the construction push is coming in, and Thomas isn't ready for it. He wanted to deny it with more smokes, and he'll pay the price. Filthy will be able to push in, drops the case temporarily as he takes out Penguin. Beautiful shot from Sweater to eliminate Spirits. More players going down, though, as Eska's been able to trade this back out in the favor of Altiora and bring us into a 2v2.
Oh no, they've devolved into a jungle gym. Look at this craziness going on right now. This is what true ranked siege looks like, folks. Swing or be swung. Kill them or force your way in the building and die trying. That's just how it has to go. 2 versus 2 now in between these two. Loving what I'm seeing from both squads. Altiora not backing down from the fight. They tried to keep things coordinated, tried to keep things kosher up against Rentfree, but there's only so much talking that you can possibly do. Every once in a while, you got to throw hands, and that's exactly what Altiora aims to do in this 2 versus 2. They have a really good opportunity here, but the bad news is no drones to be able to assist this play. They're going to have to face check everything and predict the placements of these last 2 Rentfree members. It's, again, do or die. If they lose this round, that's Rentfree on match map, everything point. They will continue on to Sunday if they're able to link these next two together. Euphoria still looking for one down low, but he still has some air jabs to allocate places. They want to take this one slow and steady because that tends to win the race as the air jabs are still being utilized, and Altiora are looking for yet another pick. But again, remember back to this drone economy. This is where a lot of problems will continue to arise.
Such a tense round right now. Prophecy nearly moving at the wrong moment. Flash is sent against him, looking at the corner of the wall and somehow still full whites him there. Eska is going to be able to take him out. And now the entire defense falls to Sweater. Also going to get double stunned this time by the Zofia charges. Won't be able to fight against it. Eska gets both of the final kills. And Altiora takes round 10.
This is what we like to see. That's it. I mean, Altiora finally fighting fire with fire. This is the most aggressive gameplay we have seen from them all day. We've seen little spurts here and there, little flickers of life from Penguin, Spirits, Eska, everyone kind of getting their plays in, but nothing that was truly, all right, we need to get in these guys' faces. They won't be prepared for this. They get it down to the 2v2, and this time, Altiora comes out on top. These last handful of rounds could possibly be some of the craziest siege that we're going to see in quite some time. I'm currently getting flashbacks all the way back. I talk about this match all the time, and I'm sorry, but the Obey Alliance matchup on Oregon up against Drip's former team of Strength V2, still one of the craziest maps I've ever seen, and this is beginning to, evolve into that, where you're getting these insane entry kills, as well as these trades flying in from every which way, window plays coming in, aggressive spawn peaks. It's all here, and it's all for our viewing pleasure. I don't want this game to stop.
Well, it's going to have to stop at a certain point, but the good news is we might yet have a map 3 in front of us if Altiora is able to take this one for themselves. We are not done just yet, folks. Rentfree is looking for the closeout. Altiora looking for that third and final map here. It's going to be on a basement defense next here from Rentfree. They'll reattempt the same thing. A very close round, and once again, they think they can make it even closer, possibly even win it. Now they have to. It's like you said, Stokes, if someone's going to win here in regulation, it's got to be done in 2 consecutive rounds now. No longer can they go back and forth, because if they do, that'll mean OT.
Oh, I absolutely love it. This is what we cast Siege for. This is what esports is all about. These close series where you can't pull your eyes away from the screen. And as of right now, it's Altiora that needs to really adhere to that rule. Stay dialed in. Don't even think about it. Don't start pulling punches until everything's already done and gone. You want to make sure you win this map and push us onto Coastline, because if not, Rentfree is walking away and walking into Sunday. Eska as well as Spirits will start things off for us here as they're going for a west to east clear, supported by some drone play by Altiora, and it's working out quite well. They get a good read on Sweater's situation over towards Big Tower, but he wants to try and contest initially before getting rid of these drones. Almost ended up shooting the default cam, but realizes he's on defense, so that probably wouldn't be the best avenue.
Sorry, I've made that mistake a few times.
I've been there, don't worry.
Like you boot up the game for the first time in a couple weeks, you're just like, what's all this? What is going on here? And then you forget you're on defense, shoot a default cam, and you look pretty foolish. Not that I have a personal experience with that or anything, just, you know.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. We're going to see some initial pressure start to get put onto the hatches. You have Sonar still in play here on the Ace this time as well, so they don't need to have the Maverick take care of it. Just a bit more convenient right now, because it does appear as though Sonar is busy with some drone work. So obviously his duties can wait, and we can have the Maverick take care of things on the inside of meeting room. Sonar, speaking of the devil, will rotate over here towards those laundry stairs, just to open up the barricade, though, not actually to take any action here or maintain a position. We are starting to see some pressure get put down further towards the freezer stairs, however, where it definitely does look like we're going to see a push committed to the inside of it. This is not the only place. Backstairs and the E-hatch as well, also being pressured right now.
Well, down to the last minute here, and still a 5 versus 5. Some damage off onto Drip, but the big thing to talk about right now, the drone economy for Altiora, damn near shot. I mean, almost every single drone gone. We're down to 4, actually, right now, as Euphoria still has one in his back pocket. But as soon as I say that, Another one's going to get removed from the board. Altiora still trying to find their way in as we continue to see these drones at the window, and that might actually be the play, but no, immediately answered back by Filthy as he's actually going to grab 2, grabs the double kill, and flips the entire script on Altiora. They thought they had the first blood, but they immediately answer back with a hail of gunfire on both ends. Rentfree in a pretty good spot now, but Spirits with the double kill as well. It seems to be who can possibly be the better fragger in between these two. Spirits putting on a show right now with Sonar walking his way into sight. Now down to Filthy to clutch in this 1 versus 3. He has to know the cross is here, but it's a quad for Altiora. They're the first ones up to map point here on Oregon.
Altiora battles back after such a promising start from Rentfree. They're looking to potentially take control on the attacking side of this as well. It's going to go the full distance here into round number 12. That's now 2 in a row, at least for Altiora here. Looking to make it 3 for the closeout. And we're going to go up to kids' dorms for what could be the final defense here for Rentfree, at least on this map, before they jump on to number 3. That's assuming, of course, our attackers take control here in Altiora. Rentfree does not want to take that lightly. They want to shut this down. They still want to send this and end this, more importantly, now. So they've got to do it here. They've got to take this to OT.
Okay, well, this is not exactly how I think any of us really saw Oregon going, and I'm really happy that Jesse talked about that stat earlier on, because Altiora are absolutely proving why they have a almost flawless record on this map. Some extremely aggressive gameplay and a completely different look from what we're used to Altiora playing like throughout the series so far. That's twice in a row now where they've gotten these aggressive plays to work up against Rentfree. Granted, Rentfree still getting their blows in like we saw with what was going on around Big Tower Stairs, specifically with Filthy. Some really good utility usage following that up with a kill with the MP5. You thought Rentfree had it, but Altiora, and specifically Spirits, being the big game changer there. So Rentfree now having to account for these big plays being made by these Altiora members, and it just doesn't seem like they have an answer for it.
Rentfree, it is up to you now to change your fate here, and they're going to try to do it in somewhat aggressive fashion on the kids' hold. We've got a couple players positioned downstairs to start it off, though. Not going to work out too great. Spirits reads the play from Sweater, counters it as well. Not a lot of damage, even none, in fact, going on to Spirits out of that engagement. It's a free early kill here, going into the favor of Altiora.
Oh, but Filthy might be able to catch somebody off guard here.
This drone, though.
This is what we were talking about with Rentfree and how they play this game. They're really opt to try and go for these refrags, but the drone's going to come in immediately. Might have to cross there as, oh, even I ducked in my chair for that one. I thought Filthy was getting shot right in the face, but that was not the case. Ends up beating it past the angle instead and gets away with his life. That was quite scary there for just a split second. But just to remind you guys, this site is still all the way over in dorm, so Filthy practically has free reign to roam around the basement and do whatever he really wants to do. I don't believe he's used his nitro cell yet either. He's not, so that could be a big game changer as he's already going back for seconds.
Filthy continuing to maintain this position, hoping that he can get a player coming this way, but it's not going to happen naturally. He's going to have to force this issue. It's not going to be an easy thing to do considering he's already been found out once. Oh, another drone might catch him here as well. At the moment, just playing under the hatch, though, because he can absolutely abuse the push from Altiora if it ends up going in that direction. The big thing, though, is he's got to be able to avoid, well, that right there, as it goes right in front of him. And it'll send him reeling back to the depths of at least the kitchen, where he'll be a little bit safer.
Oh man, this is on a knife's edge right now. Literally any kill could change the fate of either of these teams. Still a bunch of drones for Altiora. They're getting good information, but they just need to capitalize on it. They mostly know the setup for what's going on site, and definitely know that Filthy could still be running amok around the map, but it seems as though the call to action is very soon. The bat signal will more than likely be on in a moment's notice.
Eska trying to spam in here to take down Prophecy. Definitely doing some good damage, causing panic at a minimum here. But the only kill that's going to be found is still in Altiora's favor. Another down, in fact, picked up by them. This is virtually a 5v2 at this point, and there's the confirmation. Penguin will go for the plant. No resistance coming in at all at this point from Rentfree, and Filthy's been immediately denied via an air jab as he tries to work his way up through main stairs. Already in contest, too, as he's lost about a third of his health. Thomas trying to find a way to recommit, but that'll only get him killed from White. Penguin and Sonar close things down for Altiora as they're going to take control of map number 2 and send us onto a third and final map within this series.
Not only that, but also ending it with a flawless round. That's just insult to injury at that point. Pull Rentfree's map out from under us, or under them, excuse me, and push us on to Coastline. That is going to be an absolute hell in a cell. We saw this exact same thing happen yesterday between the Supersonics and Rentfree. So Rentfree are definitely ready for this Coastline when it comes down to it. But it seems as though Altiora's aggressive gameplay on Oregon might just simply be that much better than Rentfree's.
All right, guys, we'll stick with us because map number 3 is coming up right around the corner here. A short break, though, before we get to that.
I never doubted it. Always I knew that the Canadians would bring it back here on Oregon. That's going to be Altiora going all the way 12 rounds, but that doesn't matter. The comeback was real, and they were able to win this map up against Rentfree. An amazing match that showcases the fantastic team known as Altiora doing it for Canada. Oh, what a great game, Jacob.
Veli, back me up on this. Isn't it really, really cute to watch someone else have a lot of national pride in North America? Isn't this just adorable?
You know what the funny thing is? He was so Canadian about it. Like, if that was us, we would have been like, yeah, Canada sucks. Let's trash them, you know? But
Yeah,
he comes up,
we-
he's like, yeah, what are you guys talking about? I've always believed in my country.
He did it so
And
politely.
I love you
boy,
guys,
man.
too.
He didn't
Right.
use any expletives. If it had been us, we would have been jumping up and down using a whole bunch of French, and I don't mean the Canadian kind. That map was really, really good all around. So Jesse has a lot of reasons to be happy about how this one went down. Though, it does mean we have to do all 6 maps tonight,
Yes.
and there's the
Are you
potential
tired,
for
Jacob?
both series. I'm not tired, but there's still the potential for both series to be upsets at the end of the day.
Yeah, so, look at the pop-off. Look, some emotion coming from it. I've never seen a Canadian act like that before. But Jesse, you're looking snug, you're looking comfortable in that flag wrapped around you. Now, let's talk about Altiora. They got a big W. They map 1,
yeah.
it didn't look too competitive at all, really. What sparked their win on Oregon?
I mean, you saw it in those last 4 rounds. Obviously, this was a really dominant scoreline, and then we saw the comeback happen 4 in a row right at the end. And I think, you know, if you're not really paying too close attention, you look at those defenses, and you're like, well, what sparked it for Altiora? Really, what it was a response to the defense changing up on the side of Rentfree, because the first 2 defensive rounds, Rentfree really played pretty standard. I mean, they were hunkered down, whether that meant on laundry or on dorms. They were playing their utility dump, and they were playing pretty safe. Then when they went to that meeting bomb site, they played it a lot more loose. You know, they had a little bit more of a roam presence, and Altiora spotted that out and took advantage of it. They started going a lot crazier. Even the next round after that, it was another laundry hold, but you saw more vigil, more castle, more opportunities for Altiora to get aggressive, and they had some really fast rounds, and from there, the momentum was rolling. We saw Rentfree go back to a more sort of passive, like, utility dump defense style, but it didn't matter. The confidence was an all-time high, and Altiora were not losing after that.
I love hearing Jesse gush about Canadian teams.
He really is gushing.
It is amazing.
That is the word.
All right, now Jacob, my man, there were plenty of standouts here. We saw spirits pop off. Everybody had their role in this dub, but it was someone that we heard all season long in the Canadian division that we saw in every single highlight play in our recap shows. It was Eska. Tell me about him.
It was Eska because Penguin only played 1 game in the Canadian division, but Eska has been here since the start of Stage 2, and he is making things work in a massive way. I hyped him up at the very beginning of the series. I said that he was phenomenal on nades, but he played something a little bit, I guess, less typical for his own style. He was playing Melusi and Zofia, neither of which really have to worry about nades that much. You've got Zofia's lifeline launcher, obviously, so there still are 2 nades, but it's not something that you can cook. Those are your instant impact, your frag grenades that explode on impact, so you don't have to worry about the timer on those things. It's a different playstyle. He needed to consume the roam. He needed to contain it as much as he could, so that's where you bring Melusi and the Banshees, and then he plays aggressive when he's on Zofia on attack. He went, I think it was 8-4 after their defensive half on Melusi, and then as the rest of the game continued on attack, he just kept on adding to the stat line. He wasn't the only player on Altiora that had double-digit kills, but he definitely was making impact round in and round out, more so than anybody else on Altiora.
You know what's interesting about that, Jesse? The fact that Jacob really likes the fact about Eska's nade usage, about him being super accurate with nades. I'm gonna let you know now.
I do.
Every highlight in all the games I've seen Eska in, it is not nades. It is his gunplay.
Which is
his gunplay.
It's a little concerning to me because I was bringing this point up, and I'm like, I want to introduce this to the desk.
It was different
because they're like my co-caster and CL Crow is probably trying to figure out the exact same thing right now. He's the one that's hyped me up on how Eska deals with nades. The only thing is we haven't seen it yet, but that doesn't mean Eska still doesn't have a standout performance in this match so far.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Jesse, now, third map. What's it going to be? Who's going to be on top? And who do you really believe in? Like, what's going to be the difference maker here, man?
All right, well, we're headed to Coastline, and I don't need to tell you that this is going to be a playground for Rentfree. We saw them play it just yesterday, and they pretty much played how you'd expect them to. You know, they had really heavy roams. They were getting aggressive. They were playing even crazy ops like Doc all over the place. They were really wanted to get aggressive, but they also used a lot of, strategies that we haven't seen a lot recently. A lot of Mira got played that time. I'm interested to see if Altiora have picked up on that, if they want to ban Mira, or perhaps more of those aggressive operators, Vigil or something of the sort. But it's going to be a gun show, and I think that, if you're looking at this thinking maybe it fits Rentfree's playstyle, keep in mind, Altiora started winning rounds as soon as they started getting aggressive. Coastline could be an avenue for that to open up even wider for Altiora, and for them to really unleash their inner aggressive side.
I want to see the Altiora that we saw Mirage in that championship game back in Canada. But ladies and gentlemen, this is it. The winner moves on to play in the finals, where they have a chance to go to the Six Invitational. But first, it's all here. Do or die. Everything's on the line. Blue and Stokes, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Veli. We've been here all day now trying to find ourselves 2 finalists. We got one a couple hours ago in Beast Coast, and now it's time to find our second. It'll be between Rentfree and Altiora. Only one of these 2 teams can move forward, and we've got one final map to decide it here on Coastline. Stokes, what are we looking at?
Oh, we are looking at a marvel, honestly, of Siege gameplay right now from both of these squads. Altiora stepping up when it mattered most and taking on a completely different face. We didn't assume that they would, try and pull this, hat out of a bag and put it on, but all of a sudden Altiora is playing extremely aggressive into Rentfree, decimating them at every single corner. I mean, it really seems as though they have their ticket as of right now. But going into Coastline and what we saw from Rentfree yesterday, this could be a drastically different game from what we saw on Oregon. Coastline is a map that is pure chaos when it comes to Rainbow Six. So, you don't necessarily need your hard breachers. You don't need to clear these things. It's just gunfights all the time. High octane fuel inside of both of these teams' tanks. Let's see how it works out.
What a way to end the day as well, folks. Let's get into it. Our final map here on Coastline between Altiora and Rentfree. Bans are coming up right now. Altiora has the outer bands. Rentfree has the inner bands as our orange team. First one coming up, and it is going to be Ace. Not too surprising considering that he's usually the go-to, especially for fragging potential operator. Now for hard breach, and usually only going to need 1 or 2 of those because there's pretty limited hard breach requirements on this map to begin with.
And Habana going to follow suit. So, this is looking so far like the exact Coastline that we saw from yesterday, at least ban-wise. So, 2 hard destructors gone on a map that doesn't really require hard destruction. Might be asking yourself a couple of questions about that. Well, Coastline, although you don't need hard destruction, you can definitely still abuse it in some really creative ways. Most notably, for the couch's wall inside of the billiards area where the smoke player usually resides. You can get a nice hole in there and really make his life extremely difficult. We're going to round this out, though, with Valkyrie and Wamai getting removed, and that's going to be a continuation of what we've seen throughout most of the day here. I mean, looking back, we have Valk Wamai, Mira Valk, Valk Wamai, Wamai Mira, Wamai Valk, and then finally Valken Mirror? I mean, excuse me, Valken will buy. It's been a long day, man.
I mean, same difference at that point, right? Like,
but yeah, lots of bands coming in today for these two particular operators.
so just like their opponents yesterday, in fact, here we are going to see the folks on Altiora go right for a penthouse and a theater hold here since they have Mira available. She's like the make or break operator, it seems, to where penthouse becomes a viable site or not. If she's not an option, teams usually don't touch it. If she's an option, teams usually try it once or twice at a minimum, and they've got to bring her. But that's the only times they try it, is when she's not banned.
You're exactly right, and it's honestly because it's almost impossible to play it without her. So you have to have a decent amount of vision onto the inside of Penthouse to be able to prevent plants as well as get aggressive towards anybody contesting you from bathroom door as well as guitar. So if you don't have any, line of sight there and your only option is to peek a singular door, you're not going to have a good time. You have to have some other avenue in order to get some sort of information. So as for what is that? Okay. All right. We got some stuff going on here, folks. This is stuff that I've never even seen before with this mirror placement. All right. So we got the shield set up here for 90, but can we get, can you flip? There you go. One more time for me, Diana. I appreciate it, man. It looks as though they're actually going to make this mirror to where it can contest the double, which is, I don't even know what to say. I've never seen that before. That's
more of
awesome.
a let's wait and see how that one works more than anything.
That's awesome. I love it.
Because the potential for it is huge, but I see a lot of potential issues with it as well. Most notably, the amount of access that this hallway has to other parts of the map and how easily someone could flank this. But we could be wrong on that. So like I said, we'll wait and see. Early aggression from Rentfree, though, is going to move heavily. Oh, and a nice shot as well there. Actually, while taking out part of the barricade, Spirits is going to take some pretty big hits there. He'll lose about 25% of his HP. But either way, the player that was contesting has retreated up to the roof, and we're going to see, it looks like most of them go down over here towards the VIP balcony or the big window area now.
Well, still early days for Rentfree here inside of round one. Drone game looking quite strong as they're clearing out most of the map. Still have all of Drip's E1Ds as well, but as soon as I say that, we're going to be utilizing one of them off rip. They cleared out most of the downstairs, but still have some Altiora members residing specifically around security as well as the double bar area. Eska could have an opportunity to take down Prophecy here, and that's going to be a big change up for what's going on. But Prophecy already going to get rid of one of the mirrors from inside lobby. Eska's made his move, but it doesn't seem as though he's been prepared for the move from Prophecy, who now takes down Spirits. And oh no, the Dokkaebi phone call coming in. The Lion Doke Jackal meta on Coastline. It's coming back to haunt us. The only thing that could possibly make this worse would be a blitz, but Ash and Zofia will definitely do. A Sweater goes for 2, burning away both anchor members inside of theater.
It's definitely a definitive statement there made by Rentfree. This hold from Altiora just not panning out. They're really back to just that one mirror window that we talked about before, and it's working out, at least for now, for Eska. Able to find a nice pick against the big window repel. Problem being, though, can't rotate so safely over towards VIP, and of course, the case is now down on the ground. Euphoria left alone in the 1v4 here, and quickly having his head taken off by Sweater, leaves Rentfree with the win on round number 1.
Okay, so can I put my opinion on it now? Is that okay? All right, it's bad, and I'll tell you why it's bad. The reason that it's bad is the simple fact of you give up so much map control in order to do this. They destroy most of the other avenues of the map, right? Like, and the main issue is that since they put that hole in through theater, when you contest guitar, there's no real chance for them to try and shoot back at you. I believe there was 2 reinforcements dedicated to the back of theater, so that top white player couldn't even assist from long range with bullet holes or anything of that sort. So you truly are weighing your success of the round based off of that one mirror window. I'm not saying that overall it's the most terrible way that you can handle this. I still think it's got some nice structure to it, but the issue is that they didn't have any lead-off picks. The presence downstairs was basically null to none. I mean, like, the main issue is that they really didn't have any other successes across the map to make it to where the mirror window would have mattered. Rentfree just had too many men up and having way too large of an impact on the actual site for it to work.
So
there you go. That's my opinion.
There you go. Very long-winded one at that, too. But thank you very much for the information. We're now going to move into the next round here. We'll see Altiora try their defensive prowess out over here at the billiards site. They are leaving one of the walls soft, it looks like, as well, against the couch wall that Soaks was talking about there before. So it's the furthest one currently being left soft to possibly allow for some play potential going down towards the lobby area to fire out some shots down there, as well as counter out some of the VIP play, too, from the other side of the hall there.
I like what they're doing here. They're continuing to bring the Mira, but they could run into some issues. The good news is that Sonar has put this mirror window in a spot where you can't really contest it from the actual double window for billiards. So that's going to be really, really smart. I think that they could possibly get an angle there, but I'm going to assume not, since Sonar had already placed it. They have probably already, crossed their T's and dotted their I's on all of these defensive setups. So they got another mirror window dedicated over inside a theater. It's going to be a blanket hold upstairs for Altiora, just extended out to all four corners of the map.
Rentfree, already said before, keeping things nice and slow at the beginning of the rounds here. Not any sort of crazy aggression coming off the bat. No initial kills that would allow them to propel into that sort of play style either here. Gonna definitely have to try and get the intel onto Eska, and they'll find it pretty early on here. No one can really actively contest Eska so easily either because of the Banshee on the other side of the staircase from where he's playing at. First EE1D is gonna roll out from the attackers. Won't lead us into too much just as of yet, but they will also deal with the barbed wire, and more than likely that Banshee sitting on cool vibes there to allow for greater play potential against those stairs. Away from that, Sweater's gonna take out some of the floorboards sitting on the other side here, waiting for a rotate, and he might very well get it, but his opponents are also very well aware of the fact that that's been opened, so it's not going to be an easy kill if he gets the opportunity for it.
Oh, wide swing here. Eska almost gets one, but he'll get read out from the EU1D. Now knowing some pressure is coming down vibes instead of Rentfree delivering it. It's actually going to be Rentfree to the first blow as well as Spirits gets taken down. Drip follows through for two. Nice kills to lead us off here, but it appears as though Altiora are actually going to be able to fight back, but Thomas with the refrag already. These are happening in such quick succession. Eska trying to fight his way down the stairs, but Prophecy lying in wait. Euphoria trying to go for two, but Prophecy yet again to close out round two here for Rentfree. It's Rentfree all over the board so far on Coastline.
Yeah, definitely the case, especially in this attacking round here too, just piecing apart that billiards defense player by player. We didn't get to see too much about how things looked later on in the round when the players actually started to go down because we were focusing so much on the Eska play happening inside of Cool Vibes there. But he was a pretty big piece of that one too, trying to delay for so long, but ultimately missing the player holding in the close corner when he tries to get aggressive. He goes down. Just one of the many dominoes from the Altiora side that seemed to fall down there and allowed for Rentfree to get such nice access to the site and shut down the rest of the players.
Yeah, I really wish we would have figured out exactly where Drup was getting those two initial kills from, because that's really what told the tale of that round and made things extremely difficult for this defense. But Rentfree going back to what they do best, just applying a ton of pressure and having the defense crumble under all of it. So, it's either diamond or dust, and it seems to be dust more often than not when it comes to Rentfree's offenses. So, Altiora, though, on the other side of things, they've put together some decent defensive setups. I'd like to see them try and get more aggressive onto Rentfree. They're giving Rentfree a lot of time to handle the map how they want to, and that isn't exactly boding well for them, especially after what we saw from Altiora on the previous map. When they started to warm up, they were extremely aggressive, and those plays continued to work up against Rentfree. So I'd really like to see them get back to that if they could on these defenses, but I understand, especially on a map like Coastline, where Rentfree can simply hold some crosses on a roof and more than likely get a free couple kills.
Let's see here. Once again, Rentfree spawned out and out on the board, and we've got a couple roaming players here on Altiora as well looking to make an impact. Spirits most notably there by the front lobby. We'll have to check in with him later to see if he's going to meet any contests, and actually we might be able to check in with him right now because there's multiple players going his direction, and he doesn't even expect it. Sees the drone at the final moment just before Prophecy completes the wrap. That's a brutal kill going off against Spirits with no damage traded for it, so a free one for Rentfree.
I mean, he traded the drone. He traded material,
yeah,
right?
I mean, no HP trade.
Which is very sad because you died for a drone. That's, you never want to go back and be like, guys, I did my part. I got the drone over in security. Your coach isn't exactly going to be happy about that.
They've only got 9 more.
And a lion and a doke and a jackal. But we won't get into that one too much. Poor Spirits is Already probably pretty down about that anyways. Concussion to guarantee there's no ADS. Impact to make sure that that Banshee no longer exists. Eska trying to get aggressive, but he'll get concussed again. He's also getting Jackal Track. So heavy influence from Rentfree over Vibes, but it's Altiora to actually strike first. Drip, though, with an immediate refrag to actually not even equalize here to maintain the lead.
The self-stun was a little bit scary for a moment there, as it could have opened up the potential for Eska to rotate out there, but thankfully, he was affected by that just as well. Nice hop from Sonar, takes out Drip, although it's going to be under just as much stress a couple seconds later as he's now taking shots through the floorboard. Rotates to deeper billiards here, and Eska finally has the chance to impact, but for how long? Not very. Euphoria is up next here to make sure the team stays strong, as now everything for the Rentfree roster falls into Filthy's hands. He's got a little over a minute to clutch this out 1v2. Goes with a barbed wire first. Gonna wait and see here. There's an immediate reaction from Euphoria sitting deeper back with the Alda. Smoke charge also comes in to try and deny him, but his own smoke will partially cover that. Not that it's going to allow him to push past it, unfortunately. He's got full HP, and it looks like he wants to use this advantage now as he swings in, works himself past the smoke. Is he going to be able to trick out Sonar? That's the question, and the answer is no, although he will take him down. Altiora finally getting onto the board here in round number 3.
Finally, as you said, this is a much needed round here from Altiora, and handling it in fantastic fashion. They really didn't have to get aggressive this time around. They ended up getting some leadoff kills here by some mistakes from Rentfree. All of a sudden, Altiora pops in the lead, Filthy down into the 1 versus 2, and he gets cleaned up after he's trying to make some plays into Hookah. We had some really good engagement around the Vibes area, and a nice refrag there from Drip as well, but it truly was all for naught. They just didn't have the map control to try and get a case down, as the Vase play especially just too good from Altiora.
So some good opening rounds here from Altiora, or finally, I should say, a good opening round from them to get them onto the board, but it's still close. Rentfree falling apart, mainly on the trades, trying to work their way up through Cool Vibes. They're unable to maintain and eventually leave one of their players on a 1v2 that just wasn't workable in that situation, although he did come close. Rentfree now going to see if they can make up for that against the kitchen and service hold coming up here from Altiora, as we'll get to see yet another facet of this Canadian team's defense.
Well, apparently one of my friends won 263,000 channel points off of that previous map. So you guys should really get to, betting those channel points away, because
is that like an add-on or like a bot that does that, or is that like actually like a thing on Twitch you can do now?
It's actually a thing on Twitch. Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, you just go down with the channel points and use them in like the same little window. So you can actually choose who you think is going to win the map, and then you just allocate how many points you want to dedicate. And just do it all. Just do them all. Why not? Throw them down. It's literally fake money. That's what it is. I mean, like just use the channel points. Why not? It's just for fun. But hey, I mean, sometimes you win 263,000 points and can annoy everyone with all the highlighted messages you want to throw in chat, and they can't even ban you for it because it's a feature. Look at that right there. Got you something new, trolls. You're welcome. But now,
they could still ban you for it if you're being annoying. But
I mean, don't tell them that.
Yeah. I'm just a realist. There's a nice nitro cell from Eska, but it's thrown a little bit too prematurely there. Prophecy reads it and gets out of there just in the nick of time. Avoids the full breadth of damage from it.
Yeah, that was something that desperately needed to happen. Almost getting blown sky high there, but maintains his life instead. Altiora getting much more aggressive to the outside of the map here, as Spirits has been dedicated into the double bar area. Currently inside of Sunrise right now, contesting Mud, but oh no, not quick enough to his button. Turn that backpack on, so the E1D will catch him off guard there, excuse me, as Vigil still be able to maintain his life. So the case over here on Filthy is they're trying to find him. It's actually going to be Prophecy that takes him down through some vertical play, but Penguin immediately fires back. But oh no, Rentfree living inside of Altiora's sight with the exact same name. Let me tell you, looks like they can possibly get a case down here. Sweater's already hopped in, and they're going to have control, but no case control, actually. It's actually down on the other side of the map, as they have some sight players, but this is going to give a chance for Altiora to try and get some skin back in the game.
Ori with a lineup here, tracing it as well over on a Prophecy just as he saves his teammate's life. Penguin now coming in the backside, getting some good damage on the Sweater as well, just after he took down Thomas. See Drip lurking back in, took the position of his now dead teammate, but Penguin's caught onto that. It's gotten even more damage now, this time on to Drip. They finally get the case into deep sight, though, into the safety of barrels, so they'll commit themselves to the plant. Shouldn't be a way to stop this, but what's more important is that Sweater gets picked off here by Penguin. The aggression from Rentfree comes back to haunt them, and now Drips left alone at just over 25 HP to try and clutch this out. Knows what the first player is. The second player doesn't expect him to swing, so he gets the free kill there. No additional damage traded on. Penguin knows he's out of the sight, though, and that he can start this counter defuse process. Drip needs to run, and he needs to run quickly. He's running out of time. There's the stop there from his opponent. Oh no, runs right into Drip spray as well. He gets the clutch in the 1v2, and Rentfree steal round 4 right out of Altiora's hands.
Incredible stuff there from both rosters, but Rentfree better inside of the clutch, and that right there, folks, is why pros don't fake. I mean, he was simply 1 second away from holding that button and could have had that round for Altiora instead. And honestly, since Drip stopped sprinting inside of Bathroom, I think that he actually had it on timing. I really do. So that round was so very close. It just came down to that last decision on who could have possibly won that. But Drip comes out on top here and puts them even farther ahead on this offensive side, currently sitting at 3-1.
All right, guys, coming down to the wire here now. A pretty big advantage starting to be built up here for Rentfree. Pretty much halfway there to try to close out this map. It's going to be a reattempt in the same site here from Altiora. And generally speaking, when they have gone for these retries, they've usually been able to correct it and find the win on the second time around. So the prospects are pretty good right now for them to try and pick up a second at the same time, though. A definitive opener from Rentfree here. If they can clean up the early round, this could still be another win for them, too, to put us at 4-1. A scoreline that Altiora desperately don't want to have to deal with here.
Yeah, it's actually funny that you say that. They actually, for the most part, on what I'm seeing, have a pretty dang good success rate when it comes to repeats, all except for Clubhouse. Their Oregon repeats on defense were extremely successful. So, honestly, this could bode well for them. I like that they're headed back towards Kitchen, and they've definitely changed some things up, some more aggressive gameplay once again. Penguin specifically upstairs inside of Master, trying to deal some damage to the outside of the building.
Penguin looking for an early pick here too, but he's got to be careful because, no, there's the hop. Commits to the outside and down Sweater. It's not gotten the full kill yet. It's waiting for the player to come back and try to res Sweater. We're going to see.
Defender has been discovered.
Oh, Penguin trying to go for 2 there as well as he swings out into the open, but a little bit of a misread on where that player would have been coming from. Not that he would have really had the intel regardless. Thomas should be able to move in here, get the revive off on a Sweater, and at least keep him in check. Contribute later on in the round. Another half's going to break itself right by Prophecy, is now all of a sudden another player from Rentfree is in the hot seat. This time it's over there towards security, though.
Altiora still with a ton of map control through the first minute. Rentfree just working the doorways for right now, trying to find their entry point. They're spread out throughout the map, but Spirits might run into some trouble as it appears he doesn't really know someone's around the mudroom area, which could possibly catch him off guard. But actually, as everything now comes to light, there's actually a castle barricade here, so that would make total sense as to why he really doesn't care as to what's going on. But they're going to make a fresh hole for him here, reaching around in to actually give him some sort of presence. Spirit's now aware of this, though. He'll find the drone and continue to try and delay some time.
She does get a shot off on a Filthy, too. Very minimal damage, though, so nothing major going on as a result of that. E1D charges in. Spirits will give himself away, but he gets the kill and drops the case in the process. A very fast trade rolls out from Prophecy, though, as he finally starts to lurk back in. Remember, he was on roam back over towards security a while back, too, so more than likely where he came from is out in the hallway there. Takes him down. That brings us into a 4 versus 3 scenario.
This is some insane stuff going on from Rentfree right now, especially from Prophecy. This guy's pre-firing every angle known to mankind to try and stop any of these Altiora members from contesting where they are, and it's working wonders. Tons of damage onto Penguin now, or actually, excuse me, ended up downing Eska. It's exactly what happened through that angle, through the courtyard, but now it's down to the 3 versus 4 right now for Altiora, with minimal time left on the clock, but they still have Sonar with a lot of utility in his pocket, can definitely have some influence over here to towards the Vibe side. Still has a shotgun as well he could possibly utilize, but for Rentfree, it's pretty slow beginnings here for these last 30 seconds. It seems as though they are trying to change things up on how they exactly want to go for this take.
Penguin's still looking for any sort of opportunity that he can utilize from the top-down angle as well, since he continues to maintain it. And as far as I can tell, there's pretty much no pressure from Rentfree coming out against him. I think even Penguin's kind of surprised by that. He's looking for the hop over now, though, and there's one for free. Drips in the open. Another kill found by Sonar and a Thomas as well. Sweater's only got 1 HP left, and now he's the only player left trying to clutch this. But no, the shutdown from Altiora on the execute gives them round number 5 and a second overall in this map.
Strong stuff from Altiora here. Amazing rotation upstairs from Penguin that kept that round alive. He was able to find quite a bit of influence from that position. Not only did he take down Drip, but he also helped with that last kill as well inside of Kitchen. Rentfree really only had presence around the double bar area. Nothing really else across the map. No vertical play coming in or anything. So Altiora were able to abuse every single avenue at their disposal to shut down that take. Loved what I saw from him upstairs, especially with that hop over after he confirmed Drip downstairs inside a courtyard. It's exactly the kind of plays that we need to see happen when those executes are going off, just to throw Rentfree off kilter and just make it that much more difficult.
So another round gone, another one on the way here, as Rentfree looks to maintain their lead that they had no problem taking control of earlier on in this half, but now seem to be having a bit of an issue keeping. For quickly bound towards a 3-3 scoreline here, which is exactly what we had on our previous map as well. If Rentfree doesn't change course and is able to close out these late rounds a little bit more efficiently. It's going to go upstairs once again as we go into hookah and billiards for the final defensive round from Altiora.
Well, we're going to have Filthy pick up Sledge here. So haven't been seeing too much Sledge amongst these two. All except for on Clubhouse, where we saw quite a decent amount of play from him, but obviously going to be a change up in how they're going to handle soft destruction. It's actually going to be an addition to it. They've been bringing Sweater with the Ash as well as Prophecy on that Zofia for quite some time throughout this entire series. So just a change up in that aspect. But for Altiora on the defense, we're back into hookah. Their hookah rounds have been going back and forth. They're currently split 1-1 on these throughout their coastline defenses so far. Not too much of a change up in exactly what they want to do either. Still have the soft wall here on couches, as well as more of a roam-centric thing going on over towards theater.
Away from that, we've got Penguin and Sonar looking to fend off Thomas and some of the initial aggressors that'll look to move their way in over towards that hookah balcony. And aside from that, still a lot more work to be done here from Rentfree, specifically on trying to get some semblance, I should say, of map control for them to be able to work mainly towards Eska's position, as well as a couple other spots on the map that I'm sure they're going to want to try and take control of before committing themselves to the inside. Penguin, also over here in luggage, too, could cause problems, but more than likely just going to have to rotate back and support the hold towards VIP or Cool Vibes, because we're not seeing a whole lot of Aqua pushing coming in from Rentfree on these rounds. This could be a nice push right here. Oh, no, it's actually held by Eska, but a little bit too quick to go for the reload there. Filthy is going to be able to immediately trade that out. A nade's going to get chucked down the stairs as well. But that's really not needed anymore. It's only Euphoria holding at the top steps now. Sonar with a nice pick, though, takes down Sweater on Repel.
Oh, quite a bit of damage done now as Euphoria is continuing to contest the hookah window, but a prone angle picked up for Rentfree. See if they can possibly get the base player to move, but Thomas will confirm it with the nade instead. Perfectly cooked as it's a prone angle still for Drip as he's literally just crawling his way into sight. He picks up one. Drip gets the second. You snake of a player. Rentfree pick up round 6 off of Drip literally turtling across the ground.
And he's not like a hard to see view model or something like that either.
He's literally yellow.
This man is yellow and like a brownish color, if I remember it correctly, and was just crawling on the floor into the site and somehow made that work. Apparently, they just couldn't see the giant bumblebee walking on their floor, apparently.
Oh, man. Oh, that's just so good. Well, that's a way
Bugs
to end
1, human 0.
There's going to be a lot of happy B movie fans out there. Man, it is really getting late, isn't it? We're switching around letters now. I practically have dyslexia of the mouth. That's what's been happening.
You has to for what, like 7 hours straight now almost?
Hey, man, it's good. It's just a lot of talking, right? Just a lot of talking. But
if we ever have a career in politics, filibusters are going to be nothing, man.
Oh, dude, that's what I'm saying, right? Like,
it's gonna be like, it's just like the old days. Bring it back.
Not to flex the caster chops or anything, right? But I literally went on like a 5-minute monologue yesterday about my girlfriend's ceiling because she like just set FaceTime down and I just started talking about random things that I saw. you know. But let's get back on this. There's some interesting stuff, especially that last round. We had that, little snake play there by our good old Bumblebee of Dripacuna, as well as the rest of the Rentfree roster just getting very aggressive around the Vibes area. And I like what I saw from that. They really wanted to shut down the Vase play so they could force their way into Hookah and try and go for a plant, but the kills just happened to come faster. And that's usually what happens for Rentfree. A lot of these rosters want to try and shut down Rentfree's initial access point, but they don't truly understand the bulk of people that are coming at them. I mean, we saw what it's like to play up against them, specifically on that Vibes play, where they're able to get the leadoff kill onto Prophecy, but then immediately Filthy pushes up and kills the Lonely Mozzie trying to slam another magazine inside of that Roni.
Very true how it leads into a bit of a downfall there for Rentfree, or excuse me, for Altiora later on in the round. Now it's time to see how things shape up when the sides are flipped, as Rentfree now has to win this out on defense. 3 more rounds is all they need, just half of this half, and they will net themselves the victory and the spot in the finals tomorrow versus Beast Coast. Remember, folks, winner of this one's not going on to SI just yet. Still that one final match was going to be going on tomorrow morning. Play this out here. Thomas going to get found out on the inside of Master. He's quickly going to rush himself down the main hatch and get himself into the relative safety of Kitchen. Gonna have a few drones to support his retreat as well and make sure that no one tries to follow him. Away from that, though, Altiora not necessarily hungry for the kill. They're more focused, I think, on trying to clear out the actual upstairs roam game more than anything at this point. And Thomas actually still going to meet his match eventually anyways. Eska will find him out.
I actually believe he got him through the security hatch, which is one you don't see happen too often, either that or courtyard, but that's for another day. Eska and the rest of the squad now have some good pressure upstairs, and also a nitro cell gone from Drip, so that's actually going to bode extremely well for them. It's going to be all the explosives off of the defense. They're all down to throwing lead now, but Altiora also has that covered, currently up 5-4 inside of that man count. EE1D still to utilize, and Penguin leads us off with a second. Not too many drones left in this drone economy either, as Spirits and Euphoria are the only two that remain with a singular one in both of their pockets. Going into this last minute, this is still most definitely doable for Rentfree, but it's more than likely going to be a big beginning here with this EE1D as they try to get this execute off.
Range soft breach is running a bit low, but it will be used to take out Drip's reinforcement here. So no longer does he have safe harbor in his current position. A 1-for-1 exchange will go off with Penguin and Sweater getting kills on 2 detached players, but that still keeps the advantage in the favor of Altiora. Sweater now with the top-down angle, looking to shut one down, but Penguin is going to deny anything from Drip at the same time, knocking him out of the fight, leaving, I believe, only off-site players really left to defend this. Sweater is going to be the one major exception to that, and Filthy arrives back to the back of office just in the nick of time. That's a very important kill. Sweater still maintains position. I was wrong before on the inside of the site, and as well surgically picks out Spirits when he catches him crossing into the open. Now he's taking a bit of a risk here as he's out in the open now, potentially swinging into these fights. 7 seconds are left here. All he needs to do is stay alive. The kit's down, but he may not know that just as of yet here. Swinging against him, he's trying to keep it. He literally spun around them, a full 360 juke to the other side of the wall, and he wins it out on the timer.
Oh my. If he is any other operator there, he probably dies. That 3 armor keeping him alive and winning the round there for Rentfree of what seemed to be an Altiora round. They had everything in their power dedicated towards Blue Bar. They have things set up in lobby. They have office control, but actually, do they? No, they don't. They don't have any drone there at all. Filthy makes a fantastic play. Beautiful rotation down into office to set this all up for these Rentfree members. What a clutch from these last 2 remaining members from Rentfree. I mean, this has been just unparalleled in the clutches that we have seen today. Just things that should never happen that Rentfree are continuing to get away with.
Crazy stuff for Rentfree. 1 down, 2 to go in their round count for this half here. Now going to move it over to the next site. That was on a downstairs double bar hold as well. We didn't see that played at all by Altiora. It's brought out immediately by Rentfree, and more importantly, it's successful as well. They can now go back to the more default sites and not have to worry as much about being sure that they close these out. Hookah Billiards is going to be up next for them here.
Okay, well, as you said, Hookah's on the docket. got some, well, actually quite a different idea as to how to hold this site. Altiora opting for a soft panel on couches. That's not going to happen here for Rentfree. We're also going to have a pulse along for the ride, so be looking to Thomas to try and make an impact from down low, either with that nitro cell or just information game like we talk about all the time with that operator. So Altiora now up to the plate. 2-5 right now is the score line. They need to start getting some of these offensive rounds to fall in their favor. They definitely have the utility to do so, but they haven't doubled, or you could say tripled down on the information game like we saw from Rentfree, and that could be the big difference maker. They're only utilizing Lion here when they do have access to other avenues, but obviously it seems as though Eska really likes the soft destruction. They've been able to recreate the map and get quite a few picks because of it, so don't necessarily need to go away from it so soon. Let's see how Rentfree try to handle this as Altiora begin to enter the building.
Thomas getting some info from the Pulse, of course, about 1 or 2 players on the roof getting scouted out by him. He's going to spot one, trying to work their way through the front. He's actually spotting players on the second floor, just to correct myself really quickly here. He's going to really chase this player down, too, as I think it's Spirits on the other end of this here, and soon to be Euphoria as well, trying to keep tabs on these players. Hopefully, they'll walk over some soft floor in a moment here, and he's going to be able to punish that. But now that he's seen where it's going, Thomas is actually falling back closer to the site. He'll just quickly barricade off the pathway going into office from security before probably wrapping all the way back. Filthy with a commitment here. A little bit too bold, though. He's only able to go 1 for 1 after taking down Spirits.
Well, you can definitely see why Rentfree continues. Wow, I'm really falling apart. Rentfree continues to get these double kills here. They're contesting multiple angles and predicting where that refrag's going to come from, and that's more than likely why a lot of these initial kills from Rentfree end up being that big double kill that we've continued to see. So for Altiora, able to trade things out onto Filthy, still have really strong map control here, but you still have to worry about Thomas. This pulse being down low can change things up on a moment's notice, especially with that nitro cell still being up for him. He is going to take quite a bit of damage, though, from the Zofia outside and actually eventually get taken down by the sledge in lobby.
Once again, advantage for Altiora, but that hasn't necessarily meant a 1 round for them, judging off the way that things have developed previously. They're continuing to wait deep in the site here. He's going to have some frags chucked his way. We'll be safe from those, thankfully, for now, but maybe not in the future. It's a triple push coming out from Aqua here, and the 4th player is actually able to net themselves yet another kill. Sweater, this time getting taken down by one over here on the rappel by Hookah. It's left Prophecy all on his lonesome now in the 1v4 scenario. Excuse me, Prophecy and Drip on their lonesome in this what is now a 1vx scenario. Prophecy truly alone here now, trying to fend off the plant. He'll move forward. A nice initial pick onto Sonar, but 3 more still stand in his way. One on the rappel by the big window as well. This is not easy, but he's making it look like it is. Down goes Penguin. And now all he has to deal with is, I believe, Eska on the rappel and Euphoria holding the Aqua position.
Both balcony players. He's going to buzz this. They're more than likely going to swing at the same time, but Prophecy's just continuing to defuse. Oh my god, that was so close, and it really should not have been. Eska is able to get the kill off of actually making me sweat in my chair. So there we go. That was pretty cool. There you go, Altiora. You got your round. 3 rounds for them now off the back of some really nice picks. I think that the difference there is that they actually got to handle map control as opposed to Rentfree getting a lot of lead-off kills and then really just having influence over the later half of the round. Altiora had the lead-off as well as had the map control and had the means in order to abuse it. That was the biggest deal. They were actually able to set things up for a cross to be able to get the plant down and then retreat to greener pastures to play safely for the actual, post plant. So some good stuff here from Altiora, and they're actually going to shift things up as well, but not exactly what we were talking about before. They're actually going to just trade out info operators. So Jackal coming along for the ride.
Jackal going to be added in here. The E1D is not going to be prevalent, but the Jackal potentially could be even more powerful in this situation, depending on how it ends up getting used in the midst of the round. Penguin can now track down specific operators and try to figure out where they are positioned in order to ice them out, instead of just relying on catching them mid-movement, as you will often do with the EE1D, or while trying to use it mid-execute there. So just a bit of a different flavor of the anti-roam this time around, and obviously not as useful when it comes to some sort of execute potential.
Well, Rentfree committing to the roam game upstairs, plenty of utility as well as reinforcements. You can count them 4, all dedicated up here. So seems as though they really want to hold on to VIP, and you can't exactly blame them. Altiora continues to bring that sledge, which if gone, unchecked, especially here on Kitchen, can really just win the round by themselves. It's so much vertical play around this area. It makes it very difficult for your anchors to play safely inside of not only the back end of the service area over towards kegs, but as well as the K1 area around the A bomb chassis. So let's see if they try and get their entry point in upstairs. Eska already rotating up top. More than likely just going to be popping the hatches. But as we've expected from Altiora, they really like working this info game early, get these drones in, and make sure that everything has been checked out. They know where these Rentfree members are.
Time is continuing to tick down here. Still early days, though, in the round. Altiora just taking their opening minute or so in order to do that additional investigation with the drone work. Doesn't always last as long as it does on this map when compared to the others, though, so it may not be too long before we start seeing some action and some players going down to the ground here. Just a little bit of reconstruction work first for Eska and the rest of Altiora. And there you go. One bullet already taken there by Spirit as he gets chipped on the shoulder trying to fall back. Prophecy is on the other end of this fight. But at the same time, it's not just Spirits in the duel either. There are more players from Altiora still committed. Prophecy goes for a mad dash over the cross there and ultimately is going to get taken down by Penguin here on the flank.
Fantastic pinch here from Altiora to handle Theater as Filthy will immediately evacuate. He's downstairs now with the rest of the Rent-Free members as they're trying to hold on to site. But immediately as I say that drip goes down, Sweater finds a cheeky kill across the courtyard all the way from Kitchen. Good on him to find that, especially in such a desperate time. Filthy, though, going to try and make the play. He already gets rid of one of the drones, so might just try and set this up for later, but actually more damage to the drone economy delivered instead. As it looks like Rent-Free really want to get aggressive to the staircases and try and contest this top floor hold as of right now. Altiora, though, on the other side of the coin, starting to work their way towards site. This execute is starting to get set up in quite a strong fashion, but the issue is right now, very low HP on two of these members.
Now, Spirits as well as Penguin have to be very, very careful with how they approach this. They've had strategies for managing this before, though, and that's just to kind of continue to play the passive opener until absolutely required. A nice nade has gone down, leading to some extra damage on a Thomas to actually take him down, but he will get revived as they don't have the top-down angle needed to kill him. What they do have, though, with that down is the capability to get the plant confirmation. Case is down, another player eliminated, and Eska's not too far away from getting himself an additional pickup here, too, or at minimum, the info that this player is moving. He'll actually get taken down, though, by said player. Filthy upstairs will get the finishing frag. It's the same problem as before when they were trying to retake, though. The post plants are so well set up now. The hop out from Filthy to try to make up the difference, but it's not going to work. Euphoria takes up the final kill, and it's once again going to be Altiora claiming the round.
The map control just continues to go into their favor. Rent-Free haven't been able to find their entry points really at all. I mean, as we saw from our perspective, right, there was a decent amount of Altiora members over towards Penthouse as they continued to try and contest Prophecy, but where everything truly happened was inside of Aqua. Great entry point there from the Jackal, more than likely working his way in from the balcony or hopping down onto Blacktop and eventually hopping into Luggage. Either way it happened, though. Still got the leadoff kill that they needed inside of Theater that really translated into the round win. Once they got that top control, it was the sledge show. Eska just put it to work and was able to find multiple kills as well as guarantee a plant. So some great stuff there from him to be able to help them out to win this round up against Rent-Free. Now, down to Rent-Free in the double bar setup, John. They've already won it once, and this is the only one that they've actually gotten a round on.
Not the greatest record so far when it comes to this defensive setup for Rent-Free here. Have been trying so hard, but have been falling behind due to what, in my opinion, has been great drone work in the early round from Altiora and the follow-up onto that in order to get them early kills as well as map control too. Rent-Free has not had the freedom to mess around with the opening, strategy for the attack that they have generally appeared to have in previous maps. So it's a bit more of a difficult task for Rent-Free to get ahead earlier on, it seems, minus, of course, that opening round, which went so well for them.
And that just really feels like how Coastline tends to go nowadays, right? Like the offense is really the one that dictates how things are going to go. It's just very, very difficult to do it from the defensive standpoint on this map because it requires a lot of spawn kills, and those don't happen too often inside of competitive Siege. It's kind of like a one and done thing. If you get one to work, you're like, okay, we're just going to back off and maybe pull that off in another 3 rounds or something along those lines. You don't exactly do it every single time. So now Altiora working their way into the building and doing it in quite quick fashion. Actually, I'll take my words back as well. Eska actually working his way to the top of the building. I thought he was swinging to the top of white there for just a split second, but definitely not the case. But besides that, though, Altiora just still working the outsides of this map, and now you can definitely see this drone game that John has been talking about. This previous round, you see them clearing out this top floor is it's just very slow beginnings, really leaning on that, making sure this information is true and that they can transition through the map safely.
Just double and triple checking everything, it seems here. So unless Rentfree has positions where they know they can hide from the drone clear, they really don't have much hope of getting a conflict-free pick here against the members of Altiora, because the drone game is being done so extensively, and this round is no exception to that. They're not moving an inch until they've had a drone go in there once or twice in order to check for it. Thomas will at least steal one of these drones away now, so we can start getting a small amount of counter intel against the Altiora push, but it's a small gesture at this point, as once again, they've managed to clear out the large majority of the second floor without taking any contact against the Rentfree roster. This may be a choice from Rentfree, though, because they're also remaining pretty held back here compared to what we've seen in previous rounds. They may be trying to set something up here once they've got a bit of a false sense of security upstairs. And there we go. Perfect opener from Drip.
And nice shots from him to find that kill onto Sonar, who I believe was outside here, but to see exactly where he ended up dying. Yeah, all the way downtown. What a shot with that 1.5. And that's going to be a very, very nice first blood here for Rentfree. Could possibly change everything up, honestly, as Altiora were able to get quite a few picks before Rentfree fired back the last time around. But in typical Rentfree fashion, they are not going to go silently into the night. Even after they find the first frag, they're going to continue on applying the pressure across the entire board. And ultimately, it's down to Euphoria after Altiora gets ran through the meat grinder. He's got vertical control, though, just no case control, as well as no first floor map control in the slightest. So many members of Rentfree still exist across the map, but with this ARX, he does indeed have a chance. He's going to take down Prophecy to start us off here, and with Filthy on low HP, this is kind of doable, but with very, very minimal time, it's quite questionable as well.
Yeah, he may have the capability to clutch, but he does not have the time, if we're being real with ourselves here. Euphoria trying to lurk himself in now over from security side, is obviously he's got to go pick up the case before he can do anything here. That is still the primary objective that he's got to at least try to play into when pushing into the site, but there's at least 3 different angles set up against him here if he tries to swing this door, and there you go. Shut down very quickly by Sweater. Rentfree gets round 10 and puts themselves up on map and match point.
I bet they really, really wish that they could go back to double bar, but that's definitely not going to be the case. They have to choose hookah or kitchen. We also have a possibility of a penthouse defense here that could be the big change up for them, possibly. I don't really know, but as of right now, it looks like we're looking at hookah, and we're already choosing operator, so that's more than likely not going to be changed. Looks as though Rentfree are really putting in a decision here on what they're going for operator-wise. You guys saw them sit there for just a split second until finally allocating the last 3, and that's going to be Maestro, Vigil, and Malusi for all the respective players. On the other side of the coin, though, Altiora are opting for the 6th pick once again, bringing the Jackal back into play for what could possibly be their last round inside of the SI Quals.
Stokes just said there, hookah billiards, once again a very roam-friendly setup here for our defenders, as they're going to try to make that impact in the early round. It seems they've actually gotten a pretty good formula for it too, if the play from last round is going to be any indication about how this round will go, and they're not going to, more than likely, if they play it into that same fashion, I doubt we'll see any direct contention from Rentfree early on. They more than likely are going to let Altiora take that small bit of map control, just like they did in the last round, and then try to pounce on them once they are a bit more secure in those positions, which seems to have worked a little bit better for them on the roam game coming off the previous round.
Well, Rentfree, not the most aggressive setup, to be fair. Or no real support downstairs for roam game or anything of the sort. It just seems to be Rentfree grabbing the operators and trying to apply them to the situation as best as they can. And that just seems like the Rentfree way to do things. More often than not, excuse me, it ends up working out for them, where we see these huge plays come in from what basically seems out of thin air, and they end up winning a round. And that's truly all they need to seal the deal here on our last map. Altiora, though, definitely want to try and continue this on, as they'll be starting us off over on the VIP balcony.
A couple players on Altiora still taking their time on the balcony, but finally, for 40 seconds into the round, we are going to see Spirits And eventually Penguin, once he clears out his own drone route here, move in to take control of the VIP side of the map, following it up into theater now too, since Penguin's drone has been able to clear that out. Now, like I said before, no direct contention going to be happening up here, but all depends on how far out that drone game wants to extend itself, as if not, especially if it's not going to be actively checked while they still have 5 players alive, Filthy could lurk himself up those main stairs and start working a flank against these players. He seems to be focused more on the fallback and supporting the cool vibes hold, though, so I'll hold my tongue on that one, as it more than likely is not going to be happening.
Well, Altiora getting strong map control now. Already have the air jabs set up, so the checklist gets smaller and smaller, but still quite a few things still left to do. They're going to attempt to try and get Aqua control here. More than likely going to be a default plant if they're able to do so, but they're still looking for a possible first blood. Spirits will make their presence known, though, from luggage as he pops open the Aqua Balk door. As for Rentfree, they're going to transition back into some site presences. Filthy, as well as Malusi of Thomas, both rotate back to Vase. Trip now with a very aggressive angle, prone in the middle of the floor, is going to be able to get a good read on the situation here for Aqua. This is some intel that Altiora might not exactly be ready for, and I absolutely swear if he's able to do this twice with these snake plays, this is going to be something else. But that's not the case as Penguin takes him down into the last minute.
Bit of an aggressive posture there from Sweater, but it works out kind of the bait as it allows Filthy to do his own aggression without any contention to take down Sonar. That's a free trade coming back into their favor now to bring us back into a 4 versus 4. Sweater's hungry for more here too, even checking the roof positions. See if he can catch any more movement from the Altiora side of things. They're down to 30 seconds. It's not going to be too much longer before he gets that movement, as they need to execute. They need to start pushing themselves into the site. The lack of time here and the fact they still have 4 players up and standing tall from Rentfree. Oh no.
Oh no, Eska working his way in, gets 2. It's a 3v2 now for Altiora, and the plant starting. Frag grenade in. Could have a peek here, but no, a nitro cell out to try and stop it. Doesn't deal enough damage. He pre-fires through some damage onto Penguin, able to find one. Now a 1 versus 1. Possibly the biggest 1 versus 1 of Thomas's entire career up against Euphoria. He knows where he is. He pre-fires, swings back, but he's gonna have to slam another magazine. Doesn't have enough bullets. Euphoria wins it out. And Altiora, excuse me, stays alive as Euphoria wins the round.
A crucial mistake made at the end there as he ends up swinging into the open angle while mid-reload, sealing his death warrant and sending us into round number 12. So close for Thomas and the rest of Rentfree, but no dice just as of yet here. Altiora want this just as much as they do, and they're still in this fight. This is going to go the full distance as well, the full 12 rounds to decide our winner, and very, very likely overtime if we can see one more picked up here by Altiora.
Well, the decision's been made. Our battlefield is going to be Hookah once again. This has been the site that we've seen the most of throughout this entire map so far. This is going to be the 6th time that it's been played amongst these two, and this might be the game changer here. 6 pick coming in for Sweater onto the Echo. Could honestly be a good switch up. They've been getting rid of these evil eye, or the bubbles here from Maestro more often than not, and he really hasn't had any influence over these plants or any of the aggression coming in. So more than likely for Rentfree, this 6th pick is supposed to try and deny one of these plants that Altiora is going to attempt to get down. So we could see Rentfree play for Altiora to go for this execution and then just try and end them at that moment in time. We'll have to see how the initial engagements here in this next round actually go.
Said guys, coming down to the wire here, seeing if we're going to have anything crazy go on with the setup. It's not looking like it just off of the initial peeks at it here. Most importantly, we do have the Echo in play here now for Sweater, which is going to be a pretty big change-up, especially if they are looking to deny that plan at low timer, which is something that they unfortunately were not able to do in the previous round. That's going to be the obvious reason why we'll see him added to the lineup for this one, as hopefully that can make up the difference.
Well, Altiora out onto the field now, trying to guarantee this overtime, looking for this initial pick, and they're going to have an opportunity onto the roam game of Rentfree. Filthy all the way downstairs as he's continuing to circle all the way around the map. He's making his way from security all the way to the other side into kitchen. So Altiora's drone game, definitely going to be finding him sooner rather than later, but as of right now, they're mostly focused upstairs around the VIP penthouse area. Eska's already worked his way in, starting to get these walls with some larger holes in them than prior. Much rather have some rotations into other avenues here as Spirits and the rest of the squad finally join him. So look to Filthy to try and make a late round rotation if possible.
See Altiora continuing to move with a pretty big emphasis right now on the main stairs area. Of course, the follow-up into luggage too. Euphoria is going to set up one of the air jabs as they do believe that something is lurking down below them at the bottom of the main stairs over towards lobby. I didn't get to see outlines, so I'm not sure if actually is roam presence there, but I don't believe there is. The nearest thing would be Filthy way over here. They're focusing almost entirely on the site right now on the Rentfree side of things here. Spirits, though, once again, lurking all the way up to the aquarium spot. They're exactly where they would like to execute if they are going to go about it in the same fashion they did on the previous round here. But without any opening kills to work this into their favor, they've got to be very cautious about how they approach this push. The fact that any of the utility from the defending side could be thrown at them and stop this push from happening. And more importantly, if they mess up this plant on the first attempt, it's not going to be easy to get the case back. So they need to make sure that this goes off without a hitch when they do decide to commit to it.
Well, they're finally able to get a kill, and that's a start onto Prophecy of all people as well. He's been so clutch so far for Rentfree inside of this series, so to get him off the board early could be what finds Altiora success in a round that is so desperately needed. Time to force overtime here. What could possibly be the penultimate round for Rentfree. Drip with a very nice angle. Looking towards double, still trying to find these initial picks, but now starts to pop that smoke utility. That'll be his last one in as Penguin goes in for the plant off of his smoke. Could possibly see the echo play come in now, but the nitro cell out that stops the diffuser. It's trades back and forth, but Altiora come out on top. Thomas in the 1 versus 3. He knows where one of the members are, but no, Eska beats him on the angle, and Altiora force us into overtime.
Overtime it had to be to settle this series. It's been so close the entire way. Teams going back and forth so often. And now what a better way to settle it than 3 final rounds. Rentfree gets the defensive start, but that may not be an advantage in this situation with their limited success on sites that have been played out here so far. Double bar working out the best for them. They're going to actually start out on kitchen and service for this first round.
All right. Well, they only played that a singular time throughout their defenses, so could just be trying to throw a different look. They'll have Mira here, but if I do remember correctly, that's what Drip had the last time, but it's not really going to matter. Well, actually it will. This man just loves to counter out everything that I say, I swear. But we're still going to have the Mira along for the ride, as well as quite a few utility pieces that will basically be just messing with the drone economy. We have Vigil out here on Filthy as well as Sweater trying to pick a few off with those Mozzie pests. So overall, nice operator lineup when being applied towards kitchen. As on to the Altiora side of things, though, we got a big game changer here, John. Penguin coming in on the Capitao.
The Capitao adding quite a bit to the attack here. And most importantly, with regards to the smoke and potential flush utility that it adds to the table here. Also, they're not going to be missing Hard Breach as a result of bringing this to the table, because Capitao is one of the few operators that does bring the secondary Hard Breach in as well. Probably not going to see a whole lot of use out of that. It's very possible that just sits in his inventory throughout most of the round, but it is a nice addition if he needs it.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
Kind of like that car that you just like never take out of your garage. You know, it just looks nice. It's just nice to know you have it.
I mean,
right?
like, you know, if they reinforce like whatchamacallit, like a barrels wall or something.
Oh my god, that is the most unlucky thing.
A massive take for Eska right there, and Filthy just, what are you gonna do about that? He gets shut down, and now this goes into a 4v5 literally seconds into the actual round.
What are you gonna do about that? That's the real question. I mean, Rentfree is really good at refragging, so they'll probably do something. Oh my god, I don't want it to stop. I really don't. This has just been such a series in between these two. Rentfree able to equalize off of one of the luckiest shots I think I've ever seen anyone have. Another trade actually ensues, but no, actually this time it falls under the Rentfree side of the fence. Nitro Cell out, almost deals some damage to Euphoria, as they've surely been read from Sweater downstairs.
Sweater's quick pre-fire there out the window to make sure that he's safe, and certainly he is. But still, the missed Nitro Cell means that Altiora's remaining player count will be able to move in and take control of the upstairs. Not going to be any further resistance in the area over towards Hookah, but it does look like Prophecy is still holding over VIP, which is the main problem here now for Altiora, because this would be the best spot that they would look to take control of, especially with their sledge to try and flush out players down below. Now, to be fair, doing that on this specific site has become less and less popular over the recent months, at least from what I have seen. So it's very possible that Altiora choose to ignore that roaming player on the inside of VIP and focus more so on the site. But then that opens up the opposite issue. Obviously, his Prophecy more than likely has a few holes pre-made, and he's going to be able to use those as well. Sweater, take a look at him, also patiently waiting outside of security, cutting off the rotates from the other side towards office if Altiora trying to take control from there too.
Well, slow and steady now for Altiora, as they do not want to misstep on this offense. They've looked so good so far throughout all of their offenses, all of them being extremely close, but now Rentfree has found a way to stretch their lead on this man count. But as soon as that's said, an equalizer found by Euphoria's Prophecy goes down, and this could be the difference maker here for Altiora. They've equalized now, but do they have the drone economy to try and figure out where the rest of these Rentfree members exist? Well, they do have drones on Euphoria, which could definitely assist them with Sweater's positioning, but that's more than likely not going to get read into. Sonar already trying to find a spot to allocate his impact, but he's taken down by Sweater inside of Courtyard. He'll confirm it as well, looking for the second one. Where's the swing coming from? Sweater's ready for it. A triple kill for him on the round. Eska has to drop down right into the open arms of all of these Rentfree members, but no, he forces his way into bathroom. Not gonna matter though. Thomas swings off the bomb chassis and takes down Eska. Round 13 goes to the defense.
Finally seeing that additional round come in for Rentfree. It always seems to happen on the first of overtime for some reason, but Rentfree finally piecing together another successful win just when they actually didn't necessarily need to get it for themselves. And as a result of that, they're going to push ahead here in OT, put themselves once again on map and match point. All they need to do now is take one of these final two, and they will move forward into the final versus Beast Coast tomorrow. Altiora, unfortunately, you're up against the wall once again.
They're going to be headed towards Kitchen. So let's do some analysis here, folks, shall we? Going back in time over to Altiora's defenses. They played Kitchen twice. They're 1-for-1 on it, but they honestly did not have a better choice amongst their site Triangle, as Rentfree got around on every single site that they went to. Hookah, Penthouse, and Kitchen. So really the only thing that they could have done is possibly go to Double Bar, but it doesn't seem as though they're exactly wanting to do that, obviously.
Definitely not opting to try and work their way into that, so it's going to be Kitchen once again will be the whole point here for Altiora to try and shut this one down, or I guess in this case try and keep themselves alive, as they now need to force that third and final round in order to close out this series. And if we get to that round, it is anyone's game at that point. We're in the fully loaded series. Rentfree, though, it's your opportunity. You've not only had the regulation rounds to do it, but you've got the overtime round in excess to do it as well. No more excuses if you lose this one. You need to close it out now. Let's take a look and see if they can get the job done this time on the attack.
I'd just like to say this, as for the last round, and honestly, our last best of 3 for 2020 as well, John. What a series that we've had in between these two, and I can definitely tell you, I will never sleep on Canada ever again after this. This is some amazing stuff happening from Altiora's side, especially from Penguin, Spirits, as well as Eska. I mean, all of these guys stepping up in their own ways today. Granted, Spirits hasn't had the best showing here on Coastline, but what he did on those 2 prior maps cannot go unnoticed. As for Rentfree, though, they're looking to close things out. This is it. If they're able to win this round, they're on to Sunday to play that best of 5 and try and force their way into the Six Invitational. Good damage off onto Sweater early on, though, for the defense. They're going to get a good read off with this intel game that they've been rocking these operators throughout this entire series. They're actually going to end up dropping the Jackal off, though, and just opting to go with the Lion and Dokkaebi.
Very tense opening to this round. I talked about it before in our previous series about why the movements maybe appear to be slower than they were earlier on in the map, and that's just a nice lineup there from Eska. Deletes Sweater on his push in from Office, but going back to what I was saying, with these rounds continuing to get more and more high risk as we get towards the end of the map, every single step these players take becomes a risk in that situation, so I can certainly understand why players may grow more timid as the third and final map of a series like this goes on, just because of what it means for both of the respective teams. This will move in, clear things out over here in Hookah, and is on a solo lurk to work his way down. Immediately spots out Eska on the other side of it, but no damage is traded. Now trying to lock Eska down, but he's too quick for him. Drip will take down Penguin elsewhere, however.
We found the equalizer. Rentfree playing extremely patiently here to the point where Drip is still on the roof with a minute remaining, just trying to make sure this roam game from Altiora finds no success or to actually get that refrag back to equalize here. Eska still allowed to be alive from that earlier engagement as he works his way back into office. He's trying to work his way back towards the site so he can have some sort of influence, but as the last EE1D goes off, it looks like he's already going to have a possible engagement. Drip's worked his way in, but Eska reads it perfectly, takes down Drip. All of a sudden, the shoe's on the other foot once again. Altiora in the lead. This is going to have to be a big play here from Rentfree.
Filthy working his way through this setup quickly, trying to actually do some reconstruction on Theater as well. That's going to flush out Euphoria, make him hold the back line now as an additional player from Rentfree is about to push down the main stairs. Is he ready for this angle? Is the opponent ready for this angle? Yes, he is. Thomas will win out the fight versus Euphoria. Spirits goes down too, but the player who killed Spirits, Prophecy, gets traded out a second later by Sonar. Eska getting lit up, but not enough in that fight. We're going to see Thomas take down Sonar. Eska finishes off Filthy. Thomas has to commit to the plant here now, and he's not going to have enough time, it looks like, to stick it before we see the rotate completed from Eska as he shuts down the round from Altiora, and they tie it up. We're going full time into round 15 to settle this.
Oh, this is something magical in between these two. USA versus Canada. Who are the kings inside of this North American qualifier? That's the real question, and it's all down to the very last round, the penultimate round, as some commentators would say. Down to double bar, John. This is a site where Rentfree have not lost yet. Both of their double bars finding success on their defenses to the point where it was their only successful defensive rounds inside of regulation. They finally got one on Kitchen when it came to overtime, but it's back to double bar to try and seal the deal here. Rentfree want this. They want to continue on into tomorrow and play that best of 5. Six Invitational is on the line for this last round here on Coastline.
Altiora can't help more than likely but get a little bit nervous considering the site choice. Rentfree has a 2-for-2 record, I believe, on this site, correct?
Yeah.
So far, so they have not lost.
In fact, we were just talking
either.
about that. I'm just
Yeah. So with that being the case, sorry, it's
You're good, man. It's late. It's so late.
we're getting through this as Altiora looks to try get a better win over Rentfree. It would be the only time within this map that they would beat them on this site if they're able to accomplish it. Rentfree probably feeling pretty secure about themselves with that fact in the back of their mind, but they can't get complacent with it either. Need to stay ready because Altiora still has had some very, very close calls when it comes to trying to take control of this site. And a few kills, one way or the other, might have changed the outcome.
This is just so very scary. I mean, especially coming into Coastline, I honestly did think that Altiora had a chance just because of what we saw them play like into the latter half of Oregon, but I did not see this coming in the slightest. I'm extremely, extremely impressed. So for Rentfree or Altiora, whoever wins this, I mean, you have to be happy about this. Both of these teams putting everything on the line here inside of this SI qualifier. Again, all down to this last round, so let's see how this leads off here. Altiora with the top clear from every single facet, every single possible way that you can enter this building. That's what they want to do on the top floor. Hookah, Aqua, as well as Guitar, all allocated to Altiora's side as they waltz in.
We can see specifically Sonar trying to work his way in over there towards Hookah. Just alone, though, in that push. Not going to have any support with him, so more than likely will hold and focus primarily on the drone work more than anything. EE1D goes off in the meantime. That's the first of 3 charges that's available to that attacker, being played by Penguin currently. Butter is going to take a position just below the Cool Vibe stairs here to try to counter out any aggressive swings, but like I said before, not really much coming from that direction anytime soon, as it's just Sonar sitting on top, self-droning himself down there for probably some action later on. However, it's not going to stay the case, though, as it looks like far more players are going to eventually group up over here now that they seem to have made a solid decision about where they want to take this execute towards. Drip, similarly to previous rounds, is still going to be on position over by the pool door as well, but he's actually going to have to rotate over here, taking up the position of what was Sweater Spot a second ago, but it seems he's had to rotate in sight.
Oh, this is surgical by both of these teams right now. Neither wants to give the other an inch. The drone economy still looking quite solid for Altiora going into the last minute here, as well as some EE1D still in the pocket of Penguin. And there's the big kill to lead him off. Sweater taken down, and he's been the most influential player here besides Prophecy. So a very nice pick. Altiora might actually have done this, but Rentfree now firing back. Thomas with some great shots through the boards to be able to take down Sonar. Drip trying to look for one inside of Mud as he hears a lot of commotion going on, but with still a lot of time left on the board, he doesn't want to try and give things up on site. Altiora now looking for further intel, but Drip's been taken down. EE1D on as well, as Spirits is looking for the office player, but actually Altiora have quite a bit of pressure. Thomas on very low HP as well. It's slipping away from Rentfree slowly. They need some big turn of tides here to try and take this back up against Altiora. Altiora slowly wrapping things around though. The plant starts now. It's down in behind the bomb chassis. He hops in. Spirits with the triple kill. It's down to Thomas, but it doesn't matter. Rentfree off the field, and Jesse, Canada does it. Altiora onto the finals.
Altiora with a massive clutch coming out there, fighting their hearts out, not even just on this map, but on the previous two as well, having to come back from deficits, ultimately to net them the win here in this series. A 2-1 victory over Rentfree. Altiora go forward to face off against Beast Coast. Definitely not the expected final that I think a lot of people would have said we would have ended up with at the beginning of this tournament, but it's the one we get. It's the one we have prepared for tomorrow morning, because one of those two teams is going to SI 2021.
Oh, what a series in between these two. But Eska, you lived up to the name, man. You did fantastic. What a game from you. What a game from Altiora overall. You brought it all the way to Coastline, and you proved all of us wrong up against Rentfree. You truly beat Rentfree at their own game. So from me to you, that is something that you can hang your hat on till the day that you die. That was something that, honestly, you don't ever really see. So some great stuff from you guys, and I wish you the best of luck inside of that grand final.
Spirit's definitely another player worth mentioning, especially from his efforts in the earlier maps, trying to set up entry kills for his team in the early rounds there, and mid-round as well as we got later on in the series. But enough from us. We've got a whole analyst desk ready to break this series down, so let's send it back down to Veli and the boys to talk about this amazing match.
And I can't believe it, the upset happened. Canada's finest, Altiora, they topped the number one Challenger League team, Rentfree, a team that people thought were gonna run through them. The Canadian group chat is going wild. Jesse was popping off in the chat. Yo, Jesse, yo, you gotta be living life right now. You gotta be happy for the boys.
What a map! Veli, I was on the edge of my seat. I'm standing up. This was incredible. I mean, the way that it ended as well. Oh, the 1v1s, the clutches
So
that
nice.
we saw. I legitimately jumped up and my headphones fell off when this ended. I mean, what a game, what a comeback for Altiora, what an upset. You've got to feel happy for the boys. Canada's in the finals.
Jacob, how you feeling, baby? What is that supposed to be, Jacob?
What is this?
Jacob,
Come
what
on.
is this? Wait, Jacob, you can't play music on Twitch.
I can't
What
play the
is
Canadian
this?
national anthem? Come on, dude,
Jacob,
that was insane.
Jacob, what are you doing?
It's national pride. All of a sudden, Canada still has one chance left to make the Invitational. I know OBS picked it up, even if TeamSpeak didn't, but oh my God, I sat in shock after that one was done for a good couple of seconds.
Pop off.
Look at how high Penguin is. Oh my
Penguin.
God.
Oh man, oh man.
What is this?
I love how he slowed it down. Like, yeah, you gonna feel it.
He knew we had to breathe for a second. Yeah.
Let's go.
Jesse, let's talk about it. Eska
Yeah.
is the truth, but Spirits stole my heart. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I was cracking jokes. I was saying, yo, just put Spirits on Montaigne and Clash, okay? He's not getting killed with that. And then what does he
Yeah.
do? Jesse, he popped off, and Altiora,
Yeah.
they walked away with the big dub.
See, I've got a theory about Spirits. I think Spirits is going through the cycle of tiredness. You know, he started out the day popping off. And this was yesterday too. He started off really early. He's chipper. He's happy. You know, he's fragging. Then as the day goes on, he gets tired. He slows down a little bit. what we saw in maximum overtime on map 3 was the point where you're so tired that you get this like burst of energy. You know what I'm talking about? Like that was Spirits in the final round. He knew exactly what he had to do and he hit his shots. Well played by him. He picked it up where it counted.
But it's not just that, it's just the whole team in general. I mean,
absolutely.
Even, you gotta think about late game as well, Jacob. I mean, Euphoria is the flank watch, you know, you see him on Nomad clutching out the 1v1s against Thomas, you know, being that late added pressure for his team to make sure that they go in on the attack, get the plants, and win the game. What do you got to say about this victory?
It was something that everyone on Altiora had to bring in at the very end. We tell you, Spirits obviously doesn't have the greatest stat line in the world, but Penguin and I think Eska are really the reason why this team had so much glue. We saw Euphoria in those late round clutches. You're absolutely right. But if we don't highlight Penguin and Eska, then we are not doing this team justice. Everyone showed up where it mattered. They were all connected, even if there were some people that didn't have much impact until the very end. In the end is where it absolutely matters the most.
I'm gonna say it now. Jesse believed. And you know what? We have an interview from Penguin on the winning team. Penguin, let's get him up on the camera. How you feeling, man? You got to be feeling great right about now.
I'm so happy. Like, I'm ecstatic, but the job's not done, so we have to keep it up tomorrow. So
yeah. You know, we had this talk before. So run me through your mindset. Is this the first time you guys have played on this level of competition against an American team?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, maybe not like
so
everyone, but for the most part, yeah.
Okay, so what was the mindset going into this series against Rentfree? This team, you know, this is not a slouch. They're gunners. They're pro league ready. And you guys, the Canadian champions, you have to have some type of mindset or game plan to battle gunners like that on that squad.
I mean, for the first little bit, our mindset wasn't the greatest. We were a little bit down. But as time went on, we were like, all right, we just got to keep going. Like, they're going to swing us. They're going to give us free picks. And we just got to roll with that. And for the most part, we did. There were a couple rounds where we kind of fumbled the bag a bit, but for the most part, we were pretty good.
Now, I got to ask, and be real, what were the comms like? You and Eska definitely were popping off. And Eska had moments where Jesse was like, yo, he is not going to lose this. And Jacob was a huge Penguin fan. Like, were you guys hyped? Were you yelling? What were the comms like behind the scenes? I have to know.
I mean, we're definitely really hype, as you can see sometimes in the camera. But when the round starts, it's refocused, like back to being calm and collected and thinking about what we're going to do, and just make sure everything is in place. So,
all right. So tomorrow, this is it. You and your team. Last week, we saw you beat Mirage to be the Canadian Division champions. You have one more game against Beast Coast to go to Six Invitational. This is every Rainbow Six Siege player's dream. This is what they compete for. This is what they live for. Going against Beast Coast, I know you guys have done your homework, you got your game plan. Who on that team are you guys really focused on? And, I mean, let's be honest. This is going to be big for you guys. The most important game of all of your lives, probably.
So I'd say, like, we're not really necessarily focused on one person. We have to respect them as a team, but we're more focused on us. Because if we play our game and we play the way we know how to play, we're going to win. It's just we have to play our game. So
I love to hear it. So you know what? I know you want to celebrate. You want to talk to your team, lay down, go to sleep, rest, and study. So once again, I'm going to give you the stage. Say what you want to the viewers out there, the fans, and show your team some more love. I'm letting you know now. You guys made a believer out of everybody out there. We're woke now. Canada's legit.
Yeah, so people gotta stop sleeping in Canada. We don't lose our wars. We come prepared. We don't get many, but we don't lose them. And then I just huge shout out to everybody that supports us. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my family. I mean, they've been super supportive for the past 5 years, ever since I said I wanted to pursue gaming as a career. So yeah, just huge shout out to everyone. I love everyone, and I love playing this game.
Hey, we love you too, man. You take it easy, get some rest. We'll see you tomorrow, and I wish you the best, all right?
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah. Oh, anytime, man. Take it easy.
Look, man, if only as a caster from a storyline perspective, I'm actually really happy that things turned out this way. As sad as I am for Tommy and the boys, think about what tomorrow is.
It's insane.
Two teams that were not expected to make the grand final against all odds won their best of threes in 2 maps anyway, or in 3 maps, regardless. What is this also? National pride, United States versus Canada. Yet again, we're going back to the well with country versus country. It's all on the line for one team to make it to SI. I didn't think it was going to be either one of these boys. We thought Disrupt was a shoe-in. No, it's Altiora and Beast Coast tomorrow, and oh my word, I need an American flag to compete with Jesse.
No,
this is
it's bigger
insane.
than that. It's not America versus Canada. Like, let's put some real respect on these teams. We're talking about a region that no one really respected in Canada. We're talking about Beast Coast. People laugh at tier 2 scenes all around esports, but they're all proving why they belong to be at the biggest event ever for Rainbow Six Siege. But for the Corsair play of the day, Jesse, what do you think it is?
Oh my god. Something from that last map, it has to be. I mean, there were some incredible plays that went on. It's a blur now.
All right, that's fine.
Just a blur.
Jacob, what you
He
thinking,
doesn't have much
man?
breath left. Oh, dude.
There's just so many
I'm
good
trying
plays.
to think. Well, there were, yeah. Man.
I can't even think of one. You know
Let's
what?
see it.
Well, you know what? Production, just throw it up on the screen, refresh our memory, all right? It's been a crazy day.
It's been so long where there've been so many good ones. I mean,
Very true.
Eska,
It's been a very long day today.
Eska popping off might have been one.
yeah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe that
here we
Eska
go.
4K on Coastline? No, the very
Spirits,
end.
yes.
Oh yeah, Spirit the Redemption arc where he comes back for a crazy 4K. Yeah, incredible.
Is there-
incredible.
That's insane. Now also for my giveaway, we actually do have a winner, and we also have a runner-up. This is something that's been new, and I love the fact that we did it. You all had one earlier on. You chose your winner. Now for my runner-up, Production. Let's see what it is. Oh no, this is actually the winner. So simping for my wife. I don't know if I can say that. he says, you know what, my wife plays support for me. My goal next year is to make sure she never outfrags me. She says never. I already have. So she let him know that she wants a passive relationship. I love the back and forth. I love the camaraderie. Listen, a couple that plays Siege together wins together. I don't know what the original saying is, but still though, I love them and stays together. Thank you, Production. A couple that plays Siege together stays together. So, simple for my wife, Flare Wing. I would like you to do me a favor. Make sure you make sure you follow the R6 Esports in a Twitter account. DM them, and therefore, and that way you'll be able to get your skin. Now, also to close things out, Jacob, let's take a look at the bracket. I'm sorry, I'm excited. My head is just all wrapped up right now. This has been a wild ride. First series of this entire event, we saw Beast Coast go surpass Ape. They surpassed Disrupt Gaming, and now they're going to be in the finals. But down low, this is where the static was just so real. The new look Supersonics, they fell by one map against Rentfree. It was a fantastic matchup. Back and forth, it was so close. Then after that, Rentfree, they advanced to face Altiora. We all saw what just happened. The Canadian Division champions, they pulled through. Spirits clutched it out in the end to put some respect on his name. And now tomorrow, this event is going to be something like we have never seen. Take a look at last year. It was Space Station Gaming that won the qualifiers, and then they raised that hammer at the end of the event. Now, Beast Coast and Altiora, they're going to be able to rewrite history to let the world know, listen, coming in from Canada, coming in from Tier 2, it doesn't matter. We're the real deal. Everything on the line tomorrow is going to be so beautiful to watch. I can't wait. But Jacob, how are you feeling? This is it, man. I'm exhausted.
Feeling good.
I'm seriously tired, man.
Oh no, I think we're all definitely exhausted. If you could hear the comms on our side of things in our call while we were waiting for that game to finish, and like how hype and tense everything was in equal spades, it was absolutely incredible. But tomorrow decides a lot about how this Six Invitational qualifier all feeds together, because not only do we have Beast Coast versus Altiora, but we also figure out who the European representative is. And that also gets decided tomorrow before our stream gets underway. So we have 2 spots for invite that are being settled in their own best of 3 matchups in the grand final for Championship Sunday, as Velius so likes to put it, tomorrow. So you don't want to miss either one of those streams, because oh my word. I'm trying to remember the other game. It's Makers against Tempera Esports. One of them is making it, and then either Beast Coast or Altiora is going to the biggest dance that Siege has, and I am all for it, dude. This is about to be insane.
That's insane. Jesse, how are you feeling about Championship Sunday coming up?
Oh, tomorrow's gonna be so good. If today was exciting, I can't even imagine what tomorrow's gonna be like. I mean, I was so excited during this last game that I wrote my notes in caps lock. I mean, I was really into this, and I'm excited as well for what tomorrow brings. A best of 5 between Altiora and Beast Coast to decide who goes to the Invitational for North America. The European game as well, I'm sure, is going to be incredible. It's going to be a good day.
Listen, all I have to say is that this has been a treat. It's been a delight to be the Desco so far. It's not done yet. One more day left to go. Jacob and Jesse, it has been a blast. Altiora, they blew the socks off the roof with that win against Rentfree. And Beast Coast, they surprised the world with their upsets. Ladies and gentlemen, one more day. There's going to be a best of 5 tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. You do not want to miss it. The winner will go to Six Invitational 2021. And I can't wait. I hope all of you beautiful people have a good night. And we'll see you tomorrow.